Chapter 1509. Li Fan sat in front of the guqin, but he did not start for a long time. He was only imitating when he played the guqin, and he did not put his heart into it. This way, he might be able to deceive laymen, but in front of a professional like Liang Ru, he would definitely be embarrassed. If he wanted to carry out a mission, he had to prepare well. Not for anything else, but to not be outdone by this last Liang Ru. Although Li Fan was not a male chauvinist, he still felt a little uncomfortable losing to a young lady. Especially losing to such an arrogant young lady, it was too depressing. "Master, what are you thinking about?" Qiao could not help but ask when she saw Li Fan sitting at the side in a daze. "Sigh, just some annoying things." Li Fan sighed. "Tell me, why is this melody so hard to find?" Qiao doesn't know much about music. Qiao said according to her understanding, Qiao only thinks that it's fine as long as you put your heart into it. I understand what you mean." Li Fan sighed. No matter what, he had to practice first. Li Fan took out his zither score and began to play according to the music on it. However, Li Fan was indeed a layman when it came to music. He did not have any foundation in this area. Li Fan practiced playing the piano according to his own understanding. However, after playing for a long time, he could only make some messy noises. Even he could not stand it. Liang Ru, who was next door, could not stand it. She stretched out her hand and knocked on the wall a few times to remind Li Fan. "This guy, didn't he play quite well just now? Why is he like a beginner? He must be doing it on purpose to make noise to anger me." This man was quite narrow-minded. He was not a good man at all. After knocking a few times, the noise on the other side gradually became softer. Li Fan had already lowered the sound of the electronic guqin. Although the sound was low, Li Fan's ears were amazing, and he could hear it clearly. He chose a wedding in a dream, but Li Fan had always been quite passive when it came to relationships. Now that he was focused on cultivation, he never thought about what marriage would be like. Marriage seemed very far away. Li Fan did not even dare to imagine his own marriage. After all, he had more than one woman. Murong Ai. Lin Yuhsin, Imperial Concubine Zhou, Lu Wan, My God, how did I get so many women all of a sudden? Was it because of love or love calamity? It was hard to tell. Li Fan struck a balance between work and rest, alternating between practicing and playing the zither. The day passed quickly, and Li Fan still had classes to attend the next day. As a music student, he did not have many classes. He only had 2 classes, English and Modern Chinese, but he had many art classes. Introduction to piano, music theory, and all kinds of practice classes. Li Fan practiced the whole morning. There were not many people in the music department of Imperial Capital University, and there were only 4 or 5 people in the piano department. Most of them were girls. As a new transfer student, Li Fan attracted the curiosity of many students. However, Li Fan did not come here to make friends with them, so he did not communicate much with them. The teacher of the practice class seemed to be a music master. Her surname was Duan, and she was also a woman in her 40s. She looked artistic, and her temperament and dress made her look like an artist. "Li Yun, I heard that you play the guqin well, but you can't be too arrogant here. You have to practice more, understand?" She did not forget to remind Li Fan, "Our old saying is very good, the fist should not leave the hand, the song should not leave the mouth. Once you relax, the level of your skill will also drop." "Teacher, I don't seem to have a sense of music. How should I cultivate this?" Li Fan asked. "Really? Why don't you play a piece for me?" Teacher Duan was a bit curious. She guided students in the piano room every day. She had seen all kinds of students and also trained some famous artists. Li Fan casually played a piece of his most memorable song. After listening, Teacher Duan gently frowned. Your foundation is indeed good. At first glance, you have practiced for many years and worked hard. However, there is no emotion in the music. Yes, teacher, I also know I have this problem. But how can I change it? To awaken your interest in life. Teacher Duan gave such a suggestion. Li Fan was a bit surprised. Teacher, do you mean I have lost interest in life? Li Fan did not know whether to laugh or cry. He was only in his early 20s. How could he lose interest in life at such a good age? Maybe it's because you haven't invested enough in music. Teacher Duan continued to evaluate, spend more effort to feel the beauty of music. How about this, come and listen. As Teacher Duan said this, she personally sat in front of the piano and played a piece for Li Fan. It was the same tune, but when played by Teacher Duan, a beautiful woman in her 40s, it gave off a different feeling. After listening to the last part, Li Fan was speechless for a long time. Nice, it was really nice. He really didn't expect that the same piece, when integrated with his own feelings, could produce such a feeling. This seemed to be a kind of enlightenment. Li Fan suddenly realized something. There seemed to be a trace of thought floating in his mind. Just like a flash of lightning, it slipped away. It was said that the supreme unemotional was the great way. But Li Fan felt that if he had rich feelings, why couldn't he achieve a great way too? Without feelings, it would make his boxing style too rigid and pedantic. And if he could integrate his feelings into it, he might even be able to bring the move to life. With a living move, it would be different. Li Fan felt that he had grasped something very mysterious, which made him very happy. When he was happy, the piece he played immediately became cheerful. Teacher Duan was a little disappointed with this transfer student, but when she heard the cheerful feeling in the piece, she was immediately surprised. This student, the piece seemed to suddenly come alive. But this cheerful rhythm was fleeting, even making Teacher Duan suspect that she had misheard. Try harder. Teacher Duan patted Li Fan's shoulder. I believe you can practice it well. Thank you, teacher. Li Fan also caught the inspiration in a flash. How could he practice it in a short time? That was something that only a godlike genius could do. Li Fan practiced for a while more and felt that his technique was getting more solid. He still needed more effort in the emotional aspect, but at least he had found the direction. This place needs to be so bouncy. Teacher Duan didn't give up on Li Fan. Occasionally, she even gave him some guidance. At this moment, Li Fan suddenly felt a strong heartbeat. This heartbeat made him panic, as if danger was coming. Liang Ru was in trouble. Chapter 15:10. Liang Ru had no classes during the day. She basically had practice classes, but she didn't like to go. When she arrived at class, a group of people would pester her or peek at her playing the piano. It was too annoying. Liang Ru still liked to play the piano on the balcony of her apartment. It was very quiet and no one would disturb her. Speaking of which, the silly kid who lived next door might have a problem with his brain or was gay. He actually didn't have any feelings for her. While there was nothing to do, Liang Ru walked to the forest behind the school alone. She changed into a close-fitting sportswear and jogged while listening to her MP3. Liang Ru usually came to ride her bike when the weather was good. However, the bike was broken, so she could only run. For Liang Ru, art and sports were very important. Only with a healthy body could she have the energy to pursue a higher realm of art. Liang Ru used to have a classmate who played the saxophone and pursued art wholeheartedly. In the end, because of a lack of inspiration, he became addicted to drugs. His family was not bad, so naturally, he didn't lack the money to buy drugs. However, it didn't take long for his body to finish first. When he finally died, he was only 19 years old. Fortunately, Liang Ru's family was very strict. Although her mother doted on her, her father was very strict. Fortunately, Liang Ru's body was good. She had practiced karate and aikido when she was young, so she was so confident in subduing the stalker in the elevator. Thinking of that stalker, Liang Ru was furious. That bastard, the next time I see him, I'll kick him a few times first. Why am I thinking of him again? It's really strange. Forget it, forget it. Don't think about him. What's the point of thinking about him? Really? Liang Ru ran on the boulevard for about half an hour, and her physical strength gradually decreased a lot. Liang Ru ran until she was drenched in sweat and finally stopped. This time, the run was very thorough. Although Liang Ru was a little tired, the feeling of burning fat made her secretly happy. Although Liang Ru's figure was already very good, women would never dislike being thin. Especially women like Liang Ru, who loved beauty. Who? Liang Ru suddenly looked back, but there was no one behind her, not even a student walking. Strange, why did it feel like there was someone just now? Liang Ru was a little puzzled. Was she thinking too much? It must be that brat. I'm a little frightened. Liang Ru got angry at the thought of it. She turned off the MP3 player and prepared to leave the mall. Suddenly, he felt someone behind him and quickly turned around. When she turned around, Liang Ru saw a dwarf wrapped in black clothes standing in front of her. In his hand was a syringe gun, as if he was waiting to inject some kind of drug into her. Who is it? Liang Ru was shocked, and her heart raced. The shorty did not answer. He only grabbed Liang Ru's arm with one hand, as if he wanted to restrain her. Almost subconsciously, Liang Ru grabbed this lean and sturdy arm and prepared to throw this rude person out with a shoulder throw that she was proud of. However, even though the other party was so short, it was as if his feet were rooted to the ground. He just stood there, making it difficult for him to exert any strength. Strange. Liang Ru was even more shocked. Why was this shorty so strange? The syringe was about to pierce her neck. Liang Ru felt despair in her heart. There was no one here. Was she doomed? But at this moment, a person suddenly descended from the sky and kicked out with both feet, sending the shorty flying. The person landed in front of her. He was wearing an inconspicuous gray sportswear. His head was covered with a hood, so she could not see what he looked like. Who are you? Just as Liang Ru asked, the person waved his hand and blocked Liang Ru behind him. Baka, the shorty's attack did not hit, and he actually cursed in Japanese. Then, he turned around and wanted to slip away. As the saying goes, if you don't hit, run 1,000 miles away. This shorty was also carrying out this point. However, Liang Ru realized that the hooded man in front of her obviously did not want to let the other party escape. The man stepped forward and reached out to grab the shorty's back. In the end, the shorty raised his arms and took off his black clothes, preparing to leave. Ha! The hooded man laughed. Then, he grabbed the shorty's clothes and wrapped them around him. He actually used the clothes as a rope and locked the shorty up. The hooded man successfully caught the shorty. With a bounce of his feet, he immediately jumped up. Liang Ru stood there in a daze. She watched as the hooded man was like an ancient expert on television. He actually stepped on the leaves and jumped into the sky. As light as a cloud, he stepped on the leaves and left. My eyes are not playing tricks on me. Liang Ru desperately rubbed her eyes, unable to react for a long time. On the roof of an apartment building not far away, Li Fan took off his hood and threw the shorty to the ground. The shorty laid there with his eyes wide open, looking at him without saying a word. "Why aren't you saying anything? Say something." Li Fan kicked him. "Are you pretending to be a silent lamb?" The shorty let out a few sounds, but no one knew what he was saying. "Sorry, I forgot to seal your acupoint." Li Fan patted his head and said to him in embarrassment, "Sorry, I will unseal it for you now." With that, he raised his leg and kicked the shorty's waist, opening his acupoint. "Baka!" The shorty spewed out a string of Japanese words. Thankfully, Li Fan had the communicator on. When he heard this, and Jing had already gotten someone to translate for him. "He's scolding you. It's very unpleasant." And Jing said, "Ignore him. This bastard definitely knows Chinese." Li Fan kicked the shorty's waist again and kicked the shorty's other acupoints, causing him to cry out in pain. And Jing had already seen the shorty's face and had found his information from the database. His name is Itagawa Lang. He's an internationally famous independent mercenary. And Jing informed Li Fan of the shorty's information. This person is infamous internationally. As long as he's paid, he'll take on any job. He has no bottom line. "I see." Li Fan nodded and stuffed his hands in his pockets. He bent down and looked at the shorty lying on the ground. "Itagawa Lang, tell me. Who hired you?" There were too many people and organizations behind Liang Ru. It was too complicated. Li Fan had to dig deep and slowly investigate. Who were the people who wanted to sabotage the plan to attack Machete? He could ignore the foreign factions, but what worried Li Fan the most was that there might be factions within the country. China's leadership wasn't made of iron. What if someone was bribed? With all sorts of situations in front of him, Li Fan's work over the past 3 months would probably not be light. "Don't kill me. I'll tell you." Chapter 15:11. Come closer, I'll tell you. Itagawa Lang seemed to have accepted his fate and decided to confess everything. Li Fan leaned over. At this moment, Itagawa Lang's eyes suddenly flashed a fierce light. He spat out a silver needle in the air and went straight for Li Fan's temple. Itagawa Lang was triumphant. This move was his trump card. Once it was used, the other party would definitely die. He had killed a lot of strong people with his help. It was a tried and tested method. Paw! Unexpectedly, Li Fan reached out and directly pinched the silver needle between his fingers. "Nanny?" Itagawa Lang's eyes widened and did not react for a long time. "Fuck, my trump card actually failed. This needle is actually smeared with poison." Li Fan observed the blue-silver needle under the sun and could not help but mutter, "You're really ruthless. No wonder you dared to make a move in broad daylight. Tell me, who is the master behind the scenes? Tell me and I'll let you live." Li Fan, Liang Ru has already called the police. The police will be here soon. You have to hurry. And Jing reminded Li Fan. "Okay, got it." Li Fan looked at Itagawa Lang, who still did not want to confess. He stretched out his finger and personally poked Itagawa Lang's body. Li Fan had a deep understanding of acupuncture points. With this poke, his internal force immediately drilled into Itagawa Lang's body. Like a worm, it instantly crawled through Itagawa Lang's 8 extraordinary meridians and flowed into his blood vessels. Itagawa Lang only had one feeling. Pain. Severe pain. As a notorious mercenary, Itagawa Lang could also be considered a tough man with iron bones. In the past, even if he was shot, he could cut the bullet out with a knife without making a sound. He begged for mercy and screamed just now in order to trick Li Fan. But this time, under Li Fan's strange hands, he had no choice but to admit defeat. The pain made him wet his pants and cry again and again. "Keep your voice down, or you'll attract the police." Li Fan had already seen the 2 police cars driving over from afar. His finger tapped on Itagawa Lang's body again. The pain immediately intensified. Itagawa Lang started to cry. He couldn't take it anymore. I'll talk. I told you everything. Look at you. Why did you have to do this? If you had said so earlier, you wouldn't have had to suffer." With a poke, Li Fan unsealed the acupuncture points on Itagawa Lang's body. This guy was already drenched in cold sweat, and he looked as if he had just been fished out of the water. I don't know what his name is. I only know that his code name is A. He's from America. America? Li Fan frowned. As expected, the United States had a hand in this. It was probably not that simple. Now that China's dragon god #1 was in the sky, it had already formed a huge protective barrier in the sky. The intercontinental missiles and satellite surveillance of the United States had all lost their effect on China. However, if they held on to this opportunity of Wanwan, several countries would secretly support Wanwan's independence. Who knows, they might be able to deplete China's domestic resources and cause unrest among the people. During this period, the entire international power was placed on a little girl, Liang Ru. Although it was a bit cruel, Liang Ru was born in such a family. This was her fate. This person will probably be able to find out more secrets. Li Fan felt that Itagawa Lang couldn't be executed. Yes, and he's an internationally wanted criminal. He must be detained. A quiet voice came from the headset. Got it. Where should I send him? There's a van at the back door, a Wuling light. Just throw him into the van. Understood. Li Fan used Qinggong and grabbed Itagawa Lang. He avoided people along the way and successfully sent him to the back door of the school. He threw him into a parked van. The driver was none other than Xiao Qin. I've handed him over. I'm going back. And it's been hard. The 2 of them had a simple exchange before Li Fan returned to the school. As for what kind of interrogation Itagawa Lang would receive when he was sent to the National Security Bureau, that was something to be said later. Li Fan returned to the school and hid at the side, watching Liang Ru communicate with the 2 policemen. I'm telling the truth. Why don't you believe me? Liang Ru was very angry. You are the people's police, right? You don't believe what the people say. This student, what you said is a bit too imaginative. A policewoman didn't know whether to laugh or cry as she looked at Liang Ru. What kind of person can come and go? I think you're a student of art. Are you thinking too much? What are you saying? Liang Ru was extremely unhappy. I'm not trying to scare you. Besides, why aren't there people who can come and go? Isn't that Li Fan from the 7 Knights Villa such a person? The 2 policemen didn't know Liang Ru's identity and were quite impatient with her. That Li Fan is indeed a person who comes and goes. Could it be that the person who saved you just now was Li Fan? The policewoman was a little sarcastic, but the other male policeman patted her arm. Have a good attitude. With that, he took over his colleague's place and continued, we'll register this matter first. If there are any new developments, remember to contact us again. The police withdrew, causing Liang Ru to stomp her feet in anger. These police officers, they don't do anything. How annoying. Liang Ru cursed, but there was nothing she could do. She could only let them go. Mom. You're so busy, but you still remember to call me. After that, Liang Ru returned to the apartment, but she immediately received a call from her mother. Li Fan was sitting next door. With his internal energy, he could hear it clearly. I'm in danger. What danger do I have? Go to the United States. No, I'm fine here. I said, I won't go. What's so good about the United States? When Li Fan heard Liang Ru arguing on the other side, he felt a little emotional. Although Liang Ru's parents were well off, they divorced early. The two of them had different values, and in the end, their marriage failed. Liang Ru's mother left for the United States, leaving Liang Ru behind. Although she gave Liang Ru a lot of money every month, Liang Ru hadn't felt the taste of motherly love for a long time. In short, don't get involved in the country's affairs. My dad is a leader, but I'm not. With that, Liang Ru hung up the phone, and the room next door was quiet for a long time. Although Li Fan couldn't understand Liang Ru's inner thoughts, he could feel her sadness. Wasn't he the same? His parents just left him behind, and the old couple traveled around, living an extremely carefree life. Not long ago, Li Fan sent someone to send them a letter, asking them to settle down in Li Family Island. However, the old couple used traveling around the world as an excuse to reject Li Fan again. Compared to Li Fan, the two of them were like a celestial couple, traveling around the world. Li Fan didn't know when he would be able to put down his heavy burden, hold hands with a beauty, and travel around the great mountains and rivers of the motherland. Just as Li Fan was muttering, someone knocked on the door again. Chapter 15:12. Dong, dong, dong. The knocking on the door was extremely loud, like thunder. Who is it? Li Fan was puzzled. Why couldn't she give him some peace? Open the door. Liang Ru's shout came from outside the door. Li Fan was going crazy. Could it be that this woman was pestering him? Wasn't she very arrogant? Why didn't she find someone else but him? I'm not opening the door. Li Fan shouted at the top of his lungs, I'm going to sleep naked. Wang Qiu giggled, and Li Fan hurriedly covered her mouth. No. Liang Ru immediately shouted through the door, are you hiding a woman in your room? Why do I hear a woman laughing? Fuck, is this woman a monster? Li Fan gave Qiu a look. Qiu understood and leaped onto the balcony. Then, she jumped onto the balcony and went upstairs. This was also a method that Li Fan discovered. If someone was looking for them, it would be convenient for Qiu to hide on the rooftop. The back of this building was the back wall of another school building, so they were not afraid of being seen. Open the door. I'm not opening the door. Even if I have a woman in my room, it has nothing to do with you. The apartment clearly states that the opposite sex is not allowed to stay overnight. You broke the rules the moment you came. I have the right to report you. The little girl shouted even more cheerfully. I'll open the door all right. I'm really scared of you. Li Fan had no choice but to obediently go forward and open the door for the girl. After opening the door, Liang Ru barged in and started searching the entire room. She did not even let go of the bathroom, the cabinet, or under the bed. Are you checking the room? Li Fan was pleased. Fortunately, he had already moved Qiu away. Otherwise, he would have been caught red-handed. You look like someone who has a mistress in his house. Ha! Li Fan did not know whether to laugh or cry. Do I look like someone who has a mistress in his house? What a joke. Although this was the truth, it was only a temporary measure. All right, follow me out. Liang Ru did not say anything and pulled Li Fan out of the door. Hey, if you have something to say, let's talk it out. Why do you have to resort to violence? Li Fan pretended to be weak and tried to pull Liang Ru's hand away, but failed. TSK, you should train your body. Liang Ru dragged Li Fan out of the apartment. Fuck, you let me lock the door first. Liang Ru lifted her leg and kicked Li Fan's apartment door shut. Fuck, big sister, where are you taking me? Come drink with me. Do you think I look like an escort? I'm not going. Although Li Fan really wanted to go, he was a little reluctant. The mission was one thing, but what was wrong with Liang Ru? Was she really using him as an errand boy? Wasn't she very vigilant? Why didn't she seem to be on guard against him? If you didn't live next door, I wouldn't even bother to look for you. Liang Ru pouted and dragged Li Fan towards the elevator. Also, your small physique is too weak. You should train well. I heard that the Seven Knights Villa is not bad. You should go learn martial arts. Did your brain break? The Seven Knights Villa has long moved out of China and overseas. Oh, right, it seems like there was such a thing. So it's true. Liang Ru clearly did not understand the matters of the pugilistic world. When she heard Li Fan scolding her, she waved her hand impatiently. Only you men care about these things. Liang Ru did not mind, then you should practice karate or something. I know a good dojo. You can go and learn. Are you here to promote yourself? Li Fan did not know whether to laugh or cry. This Liang Ru always did whatever she wanted, and he did not know what she wanted. In the blink of an eye, Li Fan was dragged into the elevator by Liang Ru. I say, ancestor, where are you taking me? Didn't I say? We're going for a drink. Liang Ru looked at Li Fan with a disdainful expression. Why are you so annoying? You're not like a man at all. You're dawdling. Li Fan did not know what to say. She was being forced, yet she said he was dawdling. It was better to stay away from this woman. She was too self-centered. Little Ru, where are you going? After going downstairs, he bumped into Luo Nan. This young master of the Luo family was dressed in a handsome and confident manner. He was holding a bouquet of roses in his hand. It seemed that he was waiting downstairs to see Liang Ru. Annoying, don't mind me. Liang Ru did not want to pay attention to this fellow. She pulled Li Fan and walked outside. Ha! Where are you going? Seeing Liang Ru pull Li Fan, Luo Nan burned with jealousy. He wanted to stab Li Fan. None of your business. Liang Ru dragged Li Fan away. Luo Nan threw the bouquet on the ground angrily. Bro, that kid is too much. He just arrived and he's already taken away our school beauty. The sidekick next to him had a face full of envy and jealousy. Taken away my ass. Luo Nan gave him a kick. They're friends. Do you understand? Yes, yes. Bro is right. They're friends. Our school beauty has high standards. How could she take a fancy to a new transfer student? It's good that you know. Luo Nan was satisfied, this stinking brat. If I don't beat him up, I won't be able to dispel the hatred in my heart. Hey, didn't bros say that they're just friends? You want to beat him up? Slap. Luo Nan gave him a slap. I said you're stupid. I'm praising you. This is called nipping the problem in the bud. Do you understand? Yes, bro, you're too wise. The sidekick covered his face and apologized hurriedly. Of course. You should learn from me. Luo Nan gestured to him, make a call and have little Chow and the others prepare to make a move. Got it, bro. I'll do it right away. The sidekick took out his cell phone and made a call. It seemed that he was going to call someone. And at this very moment, Li Fan was dragged by Liang Ru to the ground. She was forcefully pulled to the bottom of a dormitory. Isn't this the men's dormitory? You brought me here to drink. Li Fan tidied up his clothes. He was puzzled no matter how he thought about it. Idiot. Who wants to drink here? This isn't a bar. Wait here. Don't run. If you run, I'll catch you back. I'll break your legs while I'm at it. Li Fan was unable to guess Liang Ru's thoughts. Why else would it be said that men shouldn't guess the thoughts of women? Soon, a boy ran down. He wore a leather jacket on such a hot day. He was dressed like a punk and gave Liang Ru a key. Got it. Let's go. Liang Ru led Li Fan to the school's car shed. She took out a Harley-Davidson motorcycle. Fuck. Are you kidding me? Li Fan was speechless. This girl could do something. She even made a motorcycle. You're too good at messing around. Don't you think it's cool? Liang Ru rode on the Harley-Davidson motorcycle and looked at Li Fan proudly. Alright, you got the bike. I'm leaving. Where are you going? Get on. I'm not going. Li Fan waved his hands. He really did not want to go. Liang Ru had the white tiger avatar on her anyway. He could sense anything that happened to her and quickly arrive. Besides, Jing and the others had arranged for some hidden sentries to keep an eye on Liang Ru. If something really happened to her, those hidden sentries could more or less stall for time. Although Li Fan had promised to protect Liang Ru, he did not want to be her lackey. Chapter 15-13. Liang Ru was like the wind in everything she did. Nobody could control her. If she got used to it, wouldn't he be in trouble too? Wouldn't he be annoyed to death if he stayed next to her? Don't you dare. Why wouldn't I dare? Beat me up if you dare. Li Fan started to act shamelessly. Nobody could do anything to him. You have to come with me. Liang Ru was being unreasonable. You followed me in the day and made me worried. Aren't you going to compensate me now? If you say that, then there's nothing we can talk about. Goodbye. Li Fan couldn't be bothered with Liang Ru. She was too spoiled. Are you coming or not? Liang Ru was already unhappy. Now that Li Fan was at odds with her, she was even more unhappy. What is this man made of? Why does he always like to go against me? If I don't make him yield, I won't be happy. No. Li Fan wanted to teach this woman a lesson. How could he let her hold him? Forget it. Liang Ru was also anxious. She stepped on the clutch and twisted the accelerator. The motorcycle roared and leaped up. Then, it rushed out of the small door. This woman is a lunatic. Li Fan was speechless. When a woman became unreasonable, she was like a stubborn donkey. Nobody could stop her. In the past, there was Muronging. She only cared about her family business. Nobody could persuade her. After that, there was Yushi. Even if he killed the martial emperor, she was nowhere to be found. After that, there was Liang Ru. She was like a lunatic. She was moody and sunny. Was she trying to be a domineering female CEO? Master, is it good to leave her like this? Chiao asked as she stood beside Li Fan. Follow her in secret. Don't let anything happen to her. Li Fan instructed Chiao. Although he hated Liang Ru, her safety was his top priority. He was a little impulsive earlier. Fortunately, Chiao could be used. Yes, master. Chiao will go now. As she spoke, Chiao disappeared beside Li Fan like a ghost. Li Fan had planned on returning to sleep when his communicator rang. It was Jing calling him. Li Fan, the target signal is moving outside the school gate. What's going on? The little girl was unhappy, so she ran out to drink. Then why don't you follow us? Li Fan was speechless. He couldn't possibly say that he had sent people to keep an eye on him, right? I also just found out. I was about to go look for her. Hurry up and go. Nothing must happen to her. That Itagawa Lang said that there are at least 3 forces eyeing Liang Ru. Okay, I got it. I'll catch up right away. Li Fan was also quite helpless. Who asked him to accept this task? Chiao, think of a way to stop Liang Ru. I'll be right there. Li Fan used a voice transmission to shout in Chiao's direction. His voice could travel at least 1,000 meters, so he should be able to catch up to Chiao. Following that, Li Fan walked towards the school gate. After walking 200 to 300 meters, he saw a familiar figure squatting at the school gate as though she was inspecting the motorcycle beside her. Master, I punctured her tires when she stopped to open the door. Chiao came to Li Fan's side and reported to him. I reckon she can't ride the bike anymore. Lass, you're weird. Well done. Li Fan praised her. After this, he asked Chiao to hide herself as he walked in front of Liang Ru. At that moment, Liang Ru stood up and kicked the motorcycle. There were tears on the lass's face. Li Fan's heart immediately softened when the beauty cried. Yo, how did this motorcycle provoke our Miss Liang? Do you want me to beat it up for you? When Liang Ru saw Li Fan, she immediately wiped her tears and shouted at him. Scram! Who needs your help? Who said I need your help? I'm just here to watch the show. Li Fan smiled happily. Come. Tell me your sad story so that I can be happy. Li Yun, you're such a jerk. Liang Ru seemed to be choking with anger. She looked at Li Fan. She was so angry that she forgot to cry. You're just like this motorcycle, bullying me. Isn't it inappropriate for you to say that? Li Fan pretended to be wronged. I was the one who was bullied by you. How did it become me bullying you? Nonsense. I've always treated people sincerely. How did I bully you? You treat people sincerely. Li Fan almost laughed out loud. Why? Did I say something wrong? Liang Ru was quite ignorant. It seemed like this lass did not interact much with people. Her way of dealing with people was already distorted. You're wrong. Li Fan pointed it out without hesitation. Liang Ru, you've been flattered by the people around you for too long. Without anyone to remind you, you've lost yourself. What did you come here for? Are you here to reprimand me? Liang Ru looked at Li Fan angrily. This man was too ungentlemanly. I can't be bothered to reprimand you. What does it have to do with me? We're not even friends. Why? Don't you like me? Liang Ru pointed at her beautiful face and looked at Li Fan with a puzzled look. Don't you men like beautiful women? Yes, you're pretty, but so what? Li Fan crossed his arms and looked at Liang Ru. You're pretty, so I should like you. You're pretty, so I should be at your beck and call. What kind of logic is that? Can one's appearance determine a person's character? Could it be that I can do whatever I want just because I'm handsome and not care about other people's feelings? Speechless. Li Fan saw that Liang Ru seemed to have given in and his tone softened. Only when a person's heart is kind will people sincerely treat him well and make friends with him. Liang Ru, look at those people around you. Do they really want to treat you well? Other than wanting to sleep with you, they just want to take advantage of you. Pfft, your words are so crude. Liang Ru spat. How did you go to school? Why are your words so harsh? My words are crude, but my logic is not. You know better than anyone if what I said makes sense. Li Fan's tone softened a little. How about this? Seeing that you're really sad today, I'll bring you out for a walk. It's fine if we drink, but you're a young lady. Why are you always drinking? Who said that women can't drink? Liang Ru clicked her tongue. Moreover, the bike is broken. How are we going to get out? Stupid, don't we have a shared bike? Li Fan pushed out a bicycle. It was unknown who had modified this bicycle, but there was also a back seat at the back. If you trust me, I'll bring you out to play. You? Don't tell me you want to sell me. You're not worth anything. You? Do you want to quarrel again? Liang Ru was infuriated. This man was really ungentlemanly. Then are you going or not? Yes. Chapter 15-14. Li Fan pedaled the bicycle while Liang Ru sat obediently at the back, grabbing the corner of Li Fan's clothes with both hands. Where are you going? Liang Ru was very curious. She grew up in the imperial capital and had been to many places. Not to mention, she was most familiar with bars and racing places. Those were places she often went to in the past. Every time she was in a bad mood, she would go to these places to vent. The effect was quite good. I'll take you to Babaishan. You're going to die. Liang Ru pinched Li Fan's arm angrily, but Li Fan's muscles were strong, so she couldn't pinch him. This guy looked quite thin, but he had some muscles. Could it be that he usually trained? Actually, it's just a small place. I discovered it a few days ago. It's a good place. TSK, what fun place have I not been to? Liang Ru didn't believe Li Fan's words. She wanted to see where Li Fan could go. Li Fan rode for a while and came to a barren mountain in the distance. Because the Imperial Capital University was located in the suburbs, barren mountains like this were rare. Li Fan brought Liang Ru to the top of the mountain. From here, he could see the city in the distance. The most clear thing was the Imperial Capital University in the night. It was a different scenery. How is the scenery here? Li Fan looked down and felt that looking into the distance was pleasing to the eye, and his mood was much better. Drinking, racing. To Li Fan, these were just distractions. A moment of material desire couldn't satisfy his ambition. Becoming stronger was what Li Fan wanted to do the most now. It's not bad. So it's this kind of place. You know how to be romantic. Liang Ru seemed to be quite satisfied. She stood in front of the cliff and looked at the beautiful scenery below. The night wind messed up her beautiful hair. Liang Ru reached out and gently pushed her hair aside. At this moment, her back seemed to be quite beautiful. Li Fan couldn't help but take a few more glances. This scenery would be even better if it was accompanied by music. Liang Ru could not help but sigh. If I had known, I would have brought the violin. I don't have a violin, but I have something else. Li Fan took out a short flute from his sleeve and held it in his hand. What is this? Short flute. Liang Ru was a little surprised. You know how to play the flute. Woman, why are you swearing? Bah, you're the one who's cursing. No, you have a coarse heart. Liang Ru suddenly understood the meaning behind Li Fan's words, and she couldn't help but blush as she spat. You were the one who said it first. How is it my fault now? Li Fan looked at Liang Ru seriously. It's your fault. Liang Ru felt that she had to be unreasonable for once. No, this time it was clearly Li Fan's fault. Why was it that he was being unreasonable? Okay. Do you want to listen to me play a song? Come on, your piano playing is not bad, but it's not real. I don't believe that your oral skills can be any better. Since she had been misunderstood, Liang Ru might as well break the pot and deliberately said it. That's not necessarily true. Whether my oral skills are good or not, won't you know after you try? I'll hit you. Ha, I'll play. Li Fan felt that Liang Ru was very cute. He picked up the short flute, put it to his mouth, and really started to play. This flute was learned from Jiang Yi, but Li Fan had paid attention and learned a few songs. He chose a song called Long Night Song. This Long Night Song was rumored to be created by a talented but unrecognized scholar. He tried for a long time but failed, so he created this song during a night trip. When the song of the long night was played, the lofty sentiments and lofty aspirations that could not be expressed made Liang Ru intoxicated. Unknowingly, tears trickled down her face. You bastard! Why did you play such a sad song? Liang Ru wiped her tears and then looked at Li Fan. She had obviously cried, but her eyes were filled with spirit. I didn't expect that your technique is bad, but your oral skills are not bad. Hey, you're still in high spirits. Li Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This girl, she was taking advantage of him. I said before that you don't have a sense of music, it was my fault. Liang Ru pinched her fingers. You actually have a little bit of a sense of music, a little bit. Hey, isn't it a bit unfair for you to say that? It's very fair for you. Liang Ru seemed to be very happy. Next time teach me how to play the flute. Hey, teach me how to play the music. You play the violin quite well, why learn this for? You play the flute quite well, why do you want to learn the piano? Consider it as a hobby. Li Fan declined to comment. You can learn if you want, but you have to call me teacher. Hey! You're taking advantage of me. Look at you, how do you look like a teacher? Is there anyone who looks more like a teacher than me? Look at me, I have a naturally serious look. I've already thought about it. When I graduate, I'll become a music teacher and teach people. At that time, I'll have students all over the world. How great would that be? Great my ass. You. Don't mislead others. Liang Ru snatched the flute from Li Fan's hand. Isn't it just blowing this thing? Who needs you to teach me? I'm a musical genius. Saying that, she placed it in her mouth and started blowing. But Liang Ru didn't know the technique of playing the flute, so it was a mess. When she put down the flute, she saw that Li Fan was in a daze. She suddenly understood and her face turned red. You scoundrel, are you letting your imagination run wild? No such thing. I'm a gentleman, why would I let my imagination run wild? You still dare to say no? Look at your lecherous eyes. Staring at me. How am I lecherous? You don't even have breasts, what's there to look at? Who said I don't have breasts? Aren't these breasts? Liang Ru pressed her hand on her breasts. Although they weren't big, they were starting to take shape. You're still not convinced. Look at those two, their breasts are bigger than yours. Li Fan pointed downwards. Liang Ru looked down unwillingly and saw a farm with 2 old cows. Pooey! You're actually comparing me to cows. Liang Ru angrily hammered Li Fan, causing Li Fan to burst into laughter. After hammering a few times, Liang Ru blushed a little. She felt that she was too close to this man. She suddenly turned serious and looked at Li Fan. I understand now. What do you understand? You want to flirt with me. Li Fan almost vomited blood. How did this last think of this? Flirt with you for what? Are you an instant noodle? Since you're a man, don't you have any feelings for me? Your personality is too bad, not suitable to be a girlfriend. Li Fan didn't mince words, but Liang Ru raised her eyebrows. What if I take a nap? Li Fan felt that he had suffered an internal injury, and his expression was strange. Liang Ru suddenly took out her phone, as though she was prepared. She took a photo of Li Fan and then laughed. "Look at your expression, ha ha ha, you can make an emoji pack." Chapter 15:15. Liang Ru's wild and girlish demeanor left Li Fan at a loss whether to laugh or cry. "Don't forget that Director Ho reminded you." And Jing had been listening to their conversation the entire time. She reminded Li Fan through the earpiece, "You mustn't develop feelings for Liang Ru." Li Fan didn't say a word. He naturally knew this. Even if he had a good relationship with Liang Ru, he couldn't develop feelings for her, lest he couldn't extricate himself. "Alright, you've been exposed to the night wind for most of the day. If you stay here any longer, you'll catch a cold." Li Fan interrupted the ambiguous relationship between the two. "I'll send you back." "No, I want to stay a little longer." Although Liang Ru was in a better mood, she didn't really want to return to school. She stood in front of the cliff again and looked into the distance. "Tell me, can't a man and a woman always be in love?" "Perhaps they can, or perhaps they can't." Li Fan didn't know how to answer this question. "Is this question that difficult?" Liang Ru was puzzled. "I'm only 20 years old, and your question is something that will take a lifetime to answer." Li Fan's words made Liang Ru smile bitterly. "What you said does make sense. Forget it, I'll let you off on this question." "Beauty Liang, you're wise. You're being so literary with me again." Liang Ru sighed. "Sometimes, I feel that it'd be good if I were born in an ordinary family." "Ordinary family? Why? Are you born in an imperial family?" Li Fan feigned ignorance. "Me? I'm not from an imperial family. But my father is a civil servant, and my mother is a businesswoman." Liang Ru began to talk about her family matters, but she was a little vague. The two of them are developing well in their respective positions. Everything has been smooth sailing for them. But in terms of relationships, they've failed miserably. In my memories, they have been quarreling every day and night. Even if it's just a trivial matter, the two of them can argue endlessly. As far as I can remember, the two of them have never reconciled. My ears are always filled with the sound of them arguing. Li Fan stood at the side, not daring to make a sound. He did not know what to say, nor did he know how to persuade her. These people who had their parents divorced when they were young were all very unfortunate. Their hearts were more or less incomplete and twisted. Liang Ru's personality was like this. Perhaps it was because of her family. Everyone thinks that I'm very blessed. I have a high-ranking official father and a wealthy mother. But sometimes, when I was alone on the balcony, I would suddenly have an idea. It would be great if I was born in an ordinary family. As long as I am like those ordinary people, with loving parents and a happy family, I will be happy. Actually, even if it's an ordinary family, there are many marriages that change." Li Fan could only say, "That's right. That's why I say that when adults change their marriages, the ones who suffer are us powerless children." Liang Ru smiled bitterly. "So every time I'm sad, I hide on the balcony and play the violin. As long as I played the violin, I would be completely immersed in the music. Music can make me forget my troubles." "So, music is your drug." Li Fan understood that Liang Ru's musical talent was so high because it was her psychological sustenance. Thankfully, she had music as her sustenance, preventing her heart from being too twisted. It was still not too late to correct her now. "How about this? I'll teach you how to play the flute, and you have to teach me how to play the violin." Li Fan suddenly changed the topic. "This way, I'll practice my techniques, and you'll practice your oral skills. Wouldn't the two of us be happy?" Pui. Liang Ru and Enjing, who was listening by the side, began to spit. Shameless. Liang Ru cursed. You're already panting after just a few sentences. Am I being too nice to you? Yes, yes, yes. Miss Liang is right. It's true that I spoke improperly. Li Fan gave in. Then, honorable young miss, would you be willing to exchange skills with me? Who wants to teach you? Humph. You're so stupid. Liang Ru turned her head and didn't look at Li Fan, making Li Fan laugh. What are you laughing at? Damn it. Liang Ru finally turned her head and glared at Li Fan. I'm laughing at you for saying one thing and saying another. How am I saying one thing and saying another? Liang Ru's eyes widened as though she wanted to eat Li Fan up. Alright, alright, alright. You didn't say one thing and mean another. Since that's the case, I can only see if my classmates are willing to learn how to play the flute. I'll see if I can exchange with them. No way. Liang Ru immediately shouted. Why? How can their standards compare to mine? Liang Ru explained, if you learn from them, you'll be insulting me. If you're unwilling to learn from me, I'll teach you. Liang Ru insisted on being stubborn, but Li Fan wanted to snicker. This lass was really cute when she wasn't being honest. Then I'll reluctantly learn from you. Reluctantly. It's my honor. Liang Ru was satisfied when Li Fan changed his tune. That's more like it. Then, my dear teacher Liang, can we go back now? Are you a pig? Liang Ru pointed at the time. It's already closed. We definitely can't return to the apartment. Holy shit, don't tell me you want to spend the night with me outside. Pui, dream on. Then what do you want to do? Follow me. It's time for me to bring you somewhere fun. Oh, okay. Li Fan understood. You want to ride me? Do you think I'm Hercules? Take a taxi. Then what about the shared bike? I've swiped my card. There's no place to park it nearby. It's your card. What has it got to do with me? Liang Ru seemed to have finally found a way to take advantage of Li Fan. She happily went down the mountain. This woman. It's best not to provoke her in the future. Li Fan sighed as he went down the mountain. Did you just realize that? And Jing also exhorted Li Fan, remember, don't provoke her. If you really do, the price. You know it. Yes, yes, yes. I know. My leader and Jing, can you stop nagging? My ears are getting calluses. I'm helping you. You can't be muddle-headed before important matters. Ah, you're not strong enough to lecture me like that. Humph. I'm ignoring you. Wait, and Jing, Commanderin, can you do me a favor? Beg me. My Commanderin, can you do me a favor? Humph, that's more like it. Say it. And Jing seemed to take pleasure in bullying Li Fan. This puzzled Li Fan. Ma Dan, why do these girls like to bully me so much? Well, help me stop the shared bike fees. It's all money. My heart aches. Li Fan followed Liang Ru all the way and took a taxi to the famous Lower Sea in the imperial capital. The reason why this place was famous was because Lower Sea was not a sea, but a lake. There were bars by the lake. Every night, it would become lively. Chapter 15-16. In the middle of summer, the sea was very cool at night. There were bars everywhere by the lake, and every bar was full of people. Actually, the price-to-performance ratio of the bars in the sea is not high. Liang Ru was obviously a regular customer. As she led Li Fan into the bar street, she introduced the place to him. The wine here is very expensive, but I still like it here. After all, the environment is good. I feel that it's a mess here. Li Fan looked at the customers coming and going around and couldn't help but mutter, it feels like a human in the day and a ghost at night. What's so fun about it? TSK, that's because you don't understand the bar culture here. Liang Ru looked at Li Fan with disdain. After you understand, you will know why we like to come here. If you like to drink, I can bring some wine to your room. Li Fan winked at Liang Ru. Go to hell, who wants you to come? Liang Ru said proudly, you are not allowed to come to this lady's room in the future. Otherwise, I will kill without mercy. Ha, kill without mercy, our Miss Liang is full of killing intent. That's right, so don't provoke this lady. Liang Ru seemed to be in a better mood because of the bar street. All right then, I promise I won't go to your room in the future. Humph. Liang Ru snorted in dissatisfaction. Li Fan couldn't understand her thoughts. This girl, what was she thinking? Follow me. Liang Ru didn't say anything and led the way into a bar. The bar's hall was almost hollowed out. Sitting inside, one could feel the coolness of the lake. Many guests were sitting there. There were men and women, drinking and singing. They were having a great time. The resident was an unknown woman who played the guitar and sang a love song. What would the two of you like to drink? A bartender came over and asked. Give me a bottle of Corona. Liang Ru casually ordered a set and a salute. Damn, so much wine, I can't drink it right. Li Fan looked at the table full of wine and was a little surprised. This is nothing. Do you dare to play a game with me? Liang Ru raised her eyebrows and asked. Play games? Why wouldn't I dare? How could Li Fan be afraid of this? He directly accepted the challenge. Okay, let's play a game that I didn't make, but you did. Aw. What kind of game is that? Li Fan didn't understand at first, but he suddenly understood. He remembered playing this game with Jiang Yi and the others during the New Year. Why? This game has become popular recently. Is Liang Ru going to play with me? It's just the two of us. Won't it be too boring? Afraid to play? Why wouldn't I dare? Li Fan said, why does this woman like to goad me? All right, I'll go first. Liang Ru raised her glass. I never go to the men's room. Looking at Liang Ru's crafty smile, Li Fan helplessly drank a mouthful of wine. Hey, this kind of question is too boring. After Li Fan finished drinking, he protested. If I say that I never go to the women's room, won't you have to drink too? This kind of boring question is too boring. There are so many things to talk about. Let's talk about something new. Liang Ru pointed at Li Fan. It's your turn. You do it. All right, I'll raise my glass. Li Fan raised his glass and looked at the lively crowd around him. Listening to the singing, he suddenly had an idea. I never play the violin. Fuck. This question of yours is really cunning. Liang Ru raised her glass and drank it in one gulp. You're so annoying. I'm not playing anymore. You also know that this is boring, right? It's boring. I don't know what secrets you have. Oh, right. Liang Ru suddenly thought of something. I don't have a girlfriend. Li Fan was stunned. How should he answer this question? Answer honestly. He had a feeling that this was a trap. But if he didn't answer honestly, it was a bit against Li Fan's rules. However, this was a critical period. He still had to lie. Li Fan didn't drink. You're hesitating. Liang Ru's seventh sense was like poison. She instantly stared at Li Fan's eyes and said, "Are you kidding me? Why am I hesitating? Why would I hesitate if I don't raise my glass? Humph. Don't lie. If you lie in this game, you're a dog." "Alright, if I lie, I'm a dog." Li Fan barked twice in his heart. "My turn. I've never been in a relationship." If Li Fan did it once, he would do it a second time. He had already started to lie with his eyes wide open. Liang Ru was stunned. She raised her glass and drank it in one gulp. "Damn. This surprised Li Fan. You've been in a relationship before. Why can't I be in a relationship?" Liang Ru countered. "This. In short, it's really incredible that you can be in a relationship." Humph. Liang Ru rolled her eyes at Li Fan and continued, "It's not like I'm not liked by anyone. I'm very curious. What kind of fierce warrior is he?" Li Fan laughed, causing Liang Ru to roll her eyes. "He's much better than you. He's more handsome than you, more reliable than you, and more talented than you." "Then why did you guys break up?" "I don't want to talk about it." "Drink." Liang Ru stuffed a bottle of Corona into Li Fan's hand. "I'll punish you with a bottle too. Drink." As she spoke, she clinked her bottle with Li Fan's, and the two of them drank it in one gulp. Li Fan looked at Liang Ru, who seemed to have forgotten about the game and continued to drink bottle after bottle. His heart actually felt a little sorry for her. This girl seemed to be hiding a lot of things in her heart. Unfortunately, he could only think of ways to protect her safety, but he couldn't cure her heart. "These drinks are boring." Liang Ru suddenly clapped her hands. "Come, bring 8 bottles of Four Loko." The waiters immediately brought over 8 bottles of colorful drinks and placed them in front of them. "What the hell is this?" Li Fan had never seen it before. "Li Yun, let's play a more exciting game." Liang Ru's smile was somewhat ghostly, causing Li Fan to feel a little frightened. "What kind of trick are you playing now? Do you see this wine? This is called Lost Virginity wine. There's such a name. And this wine is a kind of beverage wine from abroad. It's very high in alcohol, but it's covered with fruit flavor and caffeine, so when you first drink it, you won't feel anything. If you drink 2 in a row, you'll basically be drunk and won't wake up, no different from a dead person. If a woman drinks it, it will give the man an opportunity, so it's called Lost Virginity wine." "Then why did you make me drink this? What do you want to do to me?" Li Fan hugged his arm in horror. "What nonsense are you thinking?" Liang Ru scolded Li Fan for being thick-skinned, "But you have the chance today. If I get drunk, it's up to you. Even if I lose my virginity, I won't regret it. But if you get drunk, from now on, you'll have to be my follower. How about it?" Chapter 15-17. You can even make a bet when you're drinking. Li Fan was very speechless. What was this woman thinking? "I don't care. I want to get drunk today. Come on, get me drunk. Let's see if you have the ability." Liang Ru provoked Li Fan, but she did not know that Li Fan could use his internal force to activate his meridians and force the alcohol out of his body. If Liang Ru were to compete with him in drinking, she would definitely lose. However, Li Fan was still a little unconvinced. How high could this girl's alcohol tolerance be? Could she be better than him? Li Fan wanted to test if his alcohol tolerance was better than this girl's. He picked up a bottle of lost wine. After opening it, he smelled a strong smell of alcohol and fruit juice. This is the lost wine. Is it really that powerful? You'll know once you try it. As Liang Ru spoke, she had already picked up a bottle and gulped it down like she was drinking water. Many men at the side looked over with malicious intent, seemingly wanting to see this beauty drunk. However, after Liang Ru finished a bottle of lost wine, it was as if she was drinking a bottle of water. Pooey, this wine tastes really bad. Liang Ru threw down such a sentence. Does it taste bad? Let me try it. Li Fan also opened a bottle of lost wine and then imitated Liang Ru and gulped it down in one gulp. This wine was just like what Liang Ru said, it really didn't taste good. It was like the drinks that were blended with spices in the past. It was too deceptive. For someone to actually drink this thing, Li Fan had a feeling that it was a hype. After drinking this bottle, other than feeling a little uncomfortable in his stomach, he also felt that there were other abnormalities. Yo, your alcohol tolerance is not bad. Liang Ru clapped her hands, seemingly praising Li Fan. Come, we still have a second bottle. As she spoke, Liang Ru placed a wine glass on the table and then took out a coin. Whoever throws the coin into the glass first can drink first. You are a veteran at playing games, a veteran at the bar. Li Fan couldn't help but throw out such an evaluation. That's true, I'm still a warm-up princess. Liang Ru seemed quite proud. Alright, whatever it is, you go first. Li Fan modestly declined. Liang Ru extended her finger and the coin drew a beautiful trajectory in the air before falling into the wine glass. Fuck. You seem to be playing with me. Li Fan felt like he had fallen into Liang Ru's trap. Hee, I don't care. You should drink first this time. Liang Ru looked at Li Fan threateningly, do you dare to drink it? If I'm scared, your surname isn't Li. Li Fan didn't believe it. Wasn't it just a jar of wine? He didn't believe that he would lose his virginity after drinking it. After finishing the can, Li Fan felt even more uncomfortable in his stomach. This lousy wine was really hard to swallow. Not bad, I underestimated your alcohol tolerance. Your turn. Li Fan crushed the wine jar and winked at Liang Ru. How dare you be so arrogant? Liang Ru picked up her second jar and drank to her heart's content. This Liang Ru was a great drinker in the past. Drinking wine was like drinking water. In a short while, she finished her jar. Liang Ru turned the jar upside down. There was not a drop of wine left. Next time, I'll go first. As Li Fan spoke, he grabbed the coin and threw it into the wine glass. How can you throw it so accurately? I just casually threw it. Li Fan didn't explain and pushed the third jar in front of Liang Ru. Come on, I'll cheer for you. I think you really want to get me drunk. Liang Ru snorted, causing Li Fan to laugh. You're simply a female god of wine. How can I get you drunk? What can't you do? It feels like you're omnipotent. However, this lady is stronger than you. As she spoke, Liang Ru raised the third jar of lost wine and drank it in one gulp. After drinking, Liang Ru's eyes were slightly blurred, but they quickly returned to normal. Come, it's your turn. You're awesome. This woman can really drink. It seems like she used to hang out in bars often. Cut the crap, it's your turn. Then I'll drink. Li Fan successfully drank the third jar of lost wine. The people next to them looked over and couldn't help but cheer for the two of them. This lost wine was not a joke. The two of them can drink so much, it's really amazing. There's only one jar left. Let's get something stronger. Seeing that Li Fan could also drink, Liang Ru's eyes lit up and she looked at Li Fan a few more times. She clapped her hands and called for the bartender. Bring the big glasses. Okay. The bartender also wanted to see how much these two people can drink. He quickly brought two big glasses and placed them on the table. Let's change to a more exciting way of drinking. Is it not exciting enough now? Not enough. As Liang Ru spoke, she poured the lost wine, Corona, Royal Salute, and a bottle of whiskey into the glasses in one go. Looking at the few kinds of wine mixed into one, everyone in the bar couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. Good Lord, if this wine is mixed, it would probably be strong enough. If an ordinary person drank it, they would probably be blinded. Who dares to drink this wine? It's too strong. Anyway, I don't dare. Fuck, why wouldn't I dare? I can do it. Then why don't you drink it and see? My stomach hurts today. I'll drink it tomorrow. Liang Ru did the same and also prepared a bottle of strong wine for Li Fan. Come, let's decide the winner for the last time. There's no need to decide. I'll drink first this time. Li Fan didn't want to take advantage of Liang Ru. He picked up the glass and drank it in one gulp. Li Fan felt that what he drank was not wine but raging flames. This scalding flame felt like it was going to burn through his intestines. How is this wine? It's like poison. Otherwise, why would they say it's poison? Amazing. Good. Seeing Li Fan finish this glass of wine, the bystanders finally couldn't help but praise. This is not a strong wine that ordinary people can drink. It's really amazing. Not bad. Even Liang Ru couldn't help but praise, Li Fan, I didn't expect that although your body is weak, your alcohol tolerance is not small. Alright, no matter what, you have entered my eyes. So the people you like are all big drunkards. Li Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This is called like-minded. Liang Ru declined to comment, come, this miss is going to drink to my heart's content. Wait. Li Fan pressed down on her glass, what if you finish this time and we still don't have a winner? What are you afraid of? There's plenty of wine here. Liang Ru rolled her eyes, are you afraid that no one will pay for your wine? Right, what if you drink too much and refuse to pay? You, damn it. Liang Ru turned around and glared at the bar owner, put it on my tab. No problem, Miss Liang. The boss agreed without any hesitation. Li Fan mumbled inwardly. Does this bar owner know Liang Ru's true identity? Or is it because Liang Ru is just a regular customer here? Regardless, he couldn't underestimate her. Li Fan instructed Jing to investigate the bar owner in a low voice. At the same time, he looked at Liang Ru and raised his glass. Liang Ru's face was already flushed red. Would she really get drunk this time? Chapter 15-18. This newly concocted wine could be said to be much more powerful than a deep water bomb. Not to mention women, even a man who drank a lot would feel dizzy after a glass of it. However, Liang Ru picked up the large cup and wasn't inferior at all. She downed it in one gulp. Even though Liang Ru was a woman who wasn't inferior to men, she couldn't take it anymore after drinking that large cup of wine. The two blushes on her face turned even redder, as though they were about to burn. At that moment, Liang Ru exuded the beauty of a drunken beauty. The surrounding people were intoxicated. The beauty was drunk and charming. That touch of charm was truly moving. Li Fan had seen countless beauties, but when he saw such charm, he felt his heart skip a beat. A man's hormones were at work. It was impossible for him to remain indifferent when he saw a beauty, unless Li Fan was castrated or made of iron. Li Fan, you let her drink too much. And Jing reminded Li Fan through the earpiece. It's not what I thought. She wants to drown her sorrows. Li Fan only said these words in a low voice. In short, be careful. Liang Ru's safety is the most important. And Jing exhorted again. Okay, got it. Li Fan hung up the communication and looked at Liang Ru in front of him. The young lady was clearly drunk. Her eyes were beginning to turn blurry as she looked at Li Fan with a little moisture in them. Li Yun. You bastard. Why you can't beat me in drinking? Again. Alright, you've already drunk too much. Li Fan couldn't help but carry Liang Ru before turning to the boss and saying, Boss, it's a deal. Put it on her tab. The boss nodded but gave him a warning look. Lad, be careful not to get yourself into trouble. In all honesty, I'm only sending her back to her dormitory. Li Fan exclaimed loudly, Boss, who do you think I am? What has it got to do with me who you are? The boss was non-committal. I'm just reminding you. Alright, thank you, boss. Then, I'll have to trouble you to be a good person to the end. How about arranging a car for us? The boss's forehead was full of black lines, but with a wave of his hand, he really did order someone to buy a car. However, the sea was surrounded by crowded alleys. If it was a normal car, it would be very difficult to drive in. The boss prepared a pedal tricycle for them. Li Fan was a little speechless. He looked at the tricycle that was used to travel the streets of the imperial capital, and then looked at the owner. Is this, okay? Of course, I can see that you also have some strength. Quickly send Miss Liang back. The boss patted Li Fan on the shoulder. Young man, Miss Liang is counting on you. Fuck, alright, Li Fan was also speechless. He had no choice but to put Liang Ru on the back seat of the tricycle. Then, he stepped on the old tricycle and walked along the bustling alley towards Imperial City University in the suburbs. Boss, are we leaving? Are you going to the Drum Tower? Pull me. My friend drank too much. I'll give you more money. Along the way, Li Fan met many people. They all treated him as a cart driver and asked him about the price, making Li Fan not know whether to laugh or cry. Liang Ru, you girl, you're really a headache. At that moment, while Li Fan was working hard to pull the tricycle, Liang Ru was still crying and shouting at the back. Her voice was very loud. You're the most beautiful cloud in my sky. I'm your little apple. Liang Ru did not stop singing at the back. She sang one song after another, almost catching up to China's song library. Li Fan was also helpless. He would not let this girl drink so much next time. He had clearly said that playing the violin could solve her problems, but he did not expect her to solve them in such a radical way. Drowning one's sorrows with alcohol would only make one more depressed. Cutting the water with a knife would make the water flow even more. If alcohol could solve everything, Li Fan would not have to run around every day. He could just drink at home. Mommy, don't go. Daddy, just forgive her. I don't want you to get a divorce. Boo-hoo, as she sang, Liang Ru suddenly cried again. Li Fan did not say a word and allowed her to cry incessantly behind him. This girl had too many things suppressed in her heart. Her pain was different from his, but it was just as painful. In this world, not everyone was like him, shouldering the fate of all of China, or even the entire world, on his shoulders. Just like Liang Ru and the millions of people in the world, everyone had their own troubles. Family troubles, work troubles, and love troubles. Some were heavy, some were bitter, and some might even be a little sweet. But no matter which one it was, it added a touch of color to the world. As the saying went, love and hate were the 7 emotions and 6 desires of humans. Be it happiness or worry, they were indispensable. Happiness made people young, while worry made people mature. Li Fan, the school is already closed. Don't send her back. And Jing informed Li Fan through the earpiece. There's a hotel nearby. Take her there to rest. Holy shit, stop fooling around. How can a man and woman stay in the same room together? Li Fan said righteously. Fuck you. Who allowed the two of you to sleep in the same room? But I didn't bring my ID. I don't think she did either, right? Li Fan turned his head to take a look. Liang Ru didn't bring a bag or anything when she came out. He even specially checked Liang Ru's pocket. There was no identification in it either. We've already arranged it for you. Just go over. Holy shit, working for the government sure is convenient. Then I'll request to stay in the most expensive suite. Alright, do you want me to arrange for 2 healthcare facilities for you? Aw. Really? Li Fan. I was just joking. Why take it so seriously? Li Fan laughed. When did our and Jing's temper become so bad? It doesn't matter if you want to joke in private. This is work. And Jing seemed to roll her eyes. If you continue fooling around, I'll make a report. Yes. I'll definitely treat it seriously and ensure the safety of our Miss Liang Ru. Li Fan suddenly asked very seriously, I probably didn't sleep well last night. And Jing, can you chat with me? Screw you. Who wants to chat with you? But I'm very sleepy. Li Fan even yawned. If there's no one to chat with me, I'll fall asleep. How am I going to send Liang Ru to the hotel? Don't. I'll chat with you then. And Jing, when do you plan on finding a boyfriend? Why are you asking this? I'm curious. After all, you're the prettiest girl in our office. Humph, isn't there only one woman in our office? Isn't there an additional Director Ho now? Are you comparing me to Director Ho? Although she's in her 30s, she still has her charms. Unfortunately, she's a germaphobe. It'll probably be difficult for her to find a man in her life. Director Ho. Why are you here? Chapter 1519. In the remaining half an hour, Li Fan was truly not sleepy. This was because he was busy apologizing to Director Ho the entire way. He could be considered unlucky. He had wanted to chat with Jing and make fun of her, but who knew that Director Ho would have to inspect the work at this time. Ignoring the inspection, Jing was still in a daze. As there was no one in the office, she didn't use her earphones. Instead, she chatted with Li Fan through the speakers. Director Ho had heard everything Li Fan said. Who would dare provoke Director Ho? This woman was a famous spinster in the imperial capital. Not only was she serious about her work, but she also had a bad temper. After all, Li Fan was in the wrong. Gossiping behind someone's back wasn't the behavior of a gentleman. All he could do was bow his head and apologize. Finally, when they were about to reach the hotel, Director Ho let Li Fan off. Thank you, Director Ho. I'll definitely reflect on myself in the future and not spout nonsense again. Actually, you look like you're 17 or 18. You're full of youthful energy. The number of men pursuing you must be lining up from the sea to the Imperial Capital University. Don't be so frivolous. Focus on your work. Director Ho crossed her arms and said into the comms. We just received reliable information that the Storm mercenaries have accepted the mission and are preparing to take action against Liang Ru. This Storm mercenaries sure can't stay idle. Li Fan was convinced. Liao Wushuang had even worked here for a period of time in the past. I haven't settled the score with them, and they actually came to stir up trouble again. Fine, since they dare come to China, they can forget about going back. Li Fan sneered. At the same time, he carried Liang Ru from the back seat and walked into the hotel. With a warm and fragrant body in his arms, even if Li Fan wanted to calm down, he needed to have the cultivation level. This woman really trusted him. She actually got drunk right in front of him. Was she really not afraid of what he would do? Perhaps this was also a way for Liang Ru to degenerate herself. Was she using this to take revenge on him and her parents? What an irresponsible lass. Thankfully, she had met a gentleman like him. With this in mind, Li Fan lamented his selflessness as he retracted his hand from Liang Ru's chest. Sure enough, she didn't have any chest. After entering the hotel, the staff seemed to be ready. They nodded at him and handed a magnetic card to Li Fan. Sir, room 503 on the 5th floor. Okay, thank you. Li Fan took the magnetic card and took the elevator all the way to room 503 on the 5th floor. When he opened the door, Li Fan was pleasantly surprised. He could not help but thank the silence. Thank you, organization, thank you party. They really arranged a suite for me. You're thinking too much. This is arranged for Liang Ru. And Jing seemed to be gloating. Director Ho said to let you sleep on the sofa outside. By the way, there's a camera installed in the room. We can all see what you're trying to do. Fuck, this is too much. Li Fan did not know whether to laugh or cry. This Secretary Ho was too narrow-minded. Didn't he say that she was an old virgin who couldn't get married? How dare she take revenge on him like this? This was too much. It was intolerable. Li Fan could only obediently carry Liang Ru into the room. Looking at the soft and comfortable round double bed, Li Fan could only sigh endlessly. However, on second thought, what right did she have? The one who was drunk was Liang Ru, and he was the one who did the work. Yet, he still had to sleep on the sofa. No way. With this in mind, Li Fan walked into the bedroom and hugged Liang Ru. Li Fan, what are you doing? Don't do anything rash. Upon seeing this scene through the surveillance camera, Director Ho felt his hair stand on end. Don't tell me that Li Fan is going to go berserk. Nonsense. You're gauging the heart of a gentleman with the heart of a vile person. As Li Fan spoke, he carried Liang Ru to the sofa and covered her with a blanket. As for himself, he happily walked into the bedroom through the surveillance camera and fell headfirst onto the round bed. Fuck, this is so comfortable. Li Fan happily stretched his back and turned on the big TV in the room. Then, he took out a bottle of champagne from the fridge next to him and placed it on the table next to the bed. He poured a glass for himself and then made a toast to the camera. Li Fan. You. Immediately. Bring Liang Ru back. Director Ho was about to explode. This Li Fan actually dared to do this. I'm not changing. What about it? Li Fan did not care about Director Ho's warning at all. My task is to be responsible for Liang Ru's safety, not to serve her. I'm a bodyguard, not a slave. Thank you. What you're doing is against the rules. Then I have to ask, which rule did I violate? Li Fan snorted, took a sip of champagne, and said to Director Ho. Director Ho, I was wrong to speak ill of you before. I naturally have to apologize to you for losing my temper. But I also want you to understand one thing. I, Li Fan, am a special agent of the 9th Bureau, not your slave. This mission was also an agreement between General Ran and me. As long as I protect Liang Ru's safety for 3 months, the mission will be considered completed. If I'm in a good mood, I'll let Liang Ru move freely. This is for my own good. If I'm in a bad mood, I can imprison Liang Ru on my Li family island for 3 months without seeing the light of day. This is also my right. How dare you? Director Ho was so angry that his chest was heaving up and down. He could not wait to arrest Li Fan. How dare I? Li Fan sneered, Director Ho, if people respect me, I will respect them tenfold. But you, Director Ho, bullied me too much. If I'm not wrong, the shop owner who went down to the sea is also one of your people, right? You deliberately made me pull the car so far away because you were afraid that I would be too energetic and do something to Liang-ru. Thus, you drained my stamina, leaving me powerless, right? Then, you threw me into this suite, made me sleep on the sofa, and monitored me. You call this cooperation? Stop joking. I, Li Fan, won't fall for your tricks. I'm telling you, Director Ho, from today onwards, I'll be in charge of the mission. All of you are assisting me in my work. If you continue to play tricks on me, don't blame me, Li Fan, for being merciless. That's all I have to say. Good luck. With that said, Li Fan raised his glass again and toasted Director Ho. Then, he continued drinking his champagne and watching television. Director Ho was so angry that he made a phone call to report. And Jing finally changed into her earpiece and whispered to Li Fan. Li Fan. That's not good, and Jing was very careful. I heard that Director Ho's family has quite a background. If you offend her like this, you definitely won't have a good time. It's fine. Be quiet, Li Fan said as he watched the ball. This Director Ho has been trying to throw her weight around with me the moment she arrived. She wants to tell me at any moment that this place is her territory and she has full authority. Ha, dream on. Whoever makes me, Li Fan, unhappy, I'll make her suffer. Chapter 15-20. So what if the other party had power and influence? When had Li Fan ever been afraid of this? Just as Li Fan had said, he would reciprocate tenfold for every inch of respect he received. But this Director Ho had been putting on airs with Li Fan from the beginning. He had spoiled her. In fact, Li Fan had guessed that even if Jing hadn't used the external speaker to chat with Li Fan, Director Ho would definitely have come looking for him. Why? The reason was simple. Director Ho was definitely monitoring his and Jing's voice calls. And Jing, just do your job as an aide. Just remember to do what Director Ho instructed you to do. And Jing had no power or influence, so Li Fan didn't want her to be implicated. What about you? Me? Don't worry about me. It's fine as long as she gets along with me. If she tries to get in the way and use her power for personal gain, I guarantee she'll see who will die a horrible death. Li Fan said ruthlessly before continuing to drink and watch the game. It was rare for him to live in such a good place, so how could he not enjoy it? By the way, is the healthcare you mentioned still valid? Li Fan. I was just joking. Why did you take it seriously? Am I, Li Fan, the kind of person who doesn't know what's important? Yeah. Fuck, you hurt my heart. Hurt your sister. I'm ignoring you. And Jing was worried about Li Fan's safety, so she wasn't in the mood to joke with him. After the other side hung up, Li Fan continued to do whatever he wanted. Liang-ru was drunk, so it was enough for her to sleep on the sofa. At this moment, even if she slept in the sea of clouds, she wouldn't feel it. Alcohol was something that was pleasurable in small doses, but it wasn't good to drink too much. Li Fan really didn't like the feeling of being unable to control himself when he was drunk. What drowning his sorrows with alcohol? He was just lying to himself. After ending the call, Li Fan took out the satellite phone that Bai Lin Luo had given him. He pulled open the antenna and made another call. Ling Tian, help me check the recent movements of the storm mercenaries with Huang Lei. Yes, the sooner the better. Ling Tian had always been in charge of his intelligence network. This former special agent of the government was now his best intelligence officer. Although the government's intelligence department was also very powerful, Li Fan always felt that Director Ho had not told him many things. This woman kept saying that it was for the sake of the mission, but she kept pushing him aside. It was estimated that after the mission was completed, she would excitedly go to the organization to ask for credit. At that time, the report should be that she, Director Ho, had devised strategies and given commands. It was a pity that Director Ho had underestimated him. The previous Shang Fang's sword was used to behead officials and demons. How could he be tricked by her? Li Fan didn't care about these achievements, but he definitely couldn't be used by others. Manor Lord, I've found it. Let me report it to you. Soon, Ling Tian called back and reported to Li Fan. From the information Ling Tian received, Storm had already infiltrated Huaxia using their own methods. What did you say? Has Li Family Island's technology been leaked? When Li Fan heard this news, he frowned. Li Family Island's technology level was at the forefront of the world. After all, with the help of so many mutants, it was hard to fall behind. Once the outside world got hold of Li Family Island's technology, they would probably immediately create weapons that surpassed the current era. Li Family Island isn't an iron bucket after all. Ling Tian sighed, Bai Lin Luo is already investigating this matter. He might as well just throw away some peripheral technology. What peripheral technology is it? Hearing Ling Tian's tone, Li Fan didn't think that he was relaxed. It's a primitive spiritual power enhancement system. Li Fan was speechless. Although he didn't personally participate in Li Family Island's technology tree, Bai Lin Luo would often report to him. This spiritual power enhancement system was a set of projects that Li Family Island developed in the early days. This thing was also called a telekinesis enhancement system. It was suitable for all humans. Because everyone had spiritual power, it was just that it was different in size. Spiritual power, more or less, had an impact on everyone's life. In the West, there was actually a set of good theories for using spiritual power. A person stood in front of the mirror and told himself 3 times a day that he had succeeded, worked hard, and was healthy. This would improve that person's ability. This wasn't a superstition, but a kind of spiritual hypnosis. The same thing could be used for sleep. As long as a person continuously hypnotized himself before going to sleep, when he was sleepy, there was a high chance that he would successfully fall asleep. Many people could hypnotize the other party and make them do things that they couldn't normally do. For example, they could make a person who didn't exercise do somersaults, dance, etc. Therefore, spiritual power had an impact on everyone. Chinese like to say that confidence was half the battle. This was also a kind of display of spiritual power. On Li Family Island, Bai Lin Luo advocated the development of such a spiritual power enhancement system. After the prototype was developed, it was a helmet with AR enhancement equipment. There were many sensor points on the helmet that could analyze a person's brain waves. At the same time, it could activate the person's brain and increase spiritual power. In the initial experiments, the earliest prototype, after wearing it, could allow an ordinary person to have more than 10 times spiritual power. The user could move a cup in the air. This made Bai Lin Luo and the rest wild with joy. Later on, the experiments gradually improved. Now, this telekinesis enhancement equipment had been produced to version 5.0, and the prototype had been abandoned. But if this equipment were to be taken by outsiders, it would also be a disaster. In that case, the loss of this thing should be related to the Storm mercenary group. Li Fan began to analyze, not bad, not only did these people offend me, they also want to steal my things. Looks like I have to find some time to talk to their leader. According to the intelligence, they are indeed here for Liang Ru. Then they are unlucky. Li Fan laughed, help me keep an eye on them. If there is any movement, immediately inform me. Yes, Villa Master. Li Fan hung up the satellite phone and continued to enjoy his beautiful night. However, he had sweated a little while riding, so Li Fan planned on taking a shower first. Could these guys have installed surveillance cameras in the toilet? If they really did that, it would be a little inhumane. With this in mind, Li Fan asked Jing. Are there surveillance cameras in the toilet? Of course not. Jing was at a loss whether to laugh or cry. Your thoughts are so perverted. I'm just afraid that you are too perverted. Li Fan emphasized, I'm going to take a comfortable hot bath. You guys keep an eye on Miss Liang. Call me if there's anything. The rice earpiece was waterproof, so Li Fan would wear it even when he showered. Although he didn't like being led by the nose, he would still work hard to complete his mission. Li Fan went to shower. Jing secretly turned off the surveillance camera in the bathroom and heaved a sigh of relief. From the looks of it, she couldn't tell this guy everything. Chapter 1521. Li Fan was showering and quietly finished the instant coffee in his hand. He didn't dare to be distracted as he stared intently at the screen. There were a total of 18 screens in front of him, and on them were images of room 503. There were also surveillance footage of the corridor in front of room 503, as well as the elevator and stairs. Liang Ru's safety was too important. There couldn't be any mishaps. If he couldn't even protect a young lady, how could he talk about reclaiming Wanwan? On another computer was a bird's-eye view of the entire hotel, directly fed back to him by Dragon God No. 1 surveillance camera. Some agents from the 9th Division of the National Security Agency had already secretly set up a perimeter, but Director Ho still didn't believe that Li Fan could protect Liang Ru. In Director Ho's heart, Li Fan was extremely unreliable. At this moment, Director Ho was busy snitching on Li Fan to the higher-ups. Why? How can we command such a special agent who doesn't listen to orders? Director Ho was scolded by the person on the phone. She felt aggrieved and immediately protested. In short, if he continues on this mission, I'll apply to withdraw from the operation. Sure. The voice on the other end of the line was very cold and didn't show any mercy. You can hand over your work to Director Yang in Bayfish Circle. Why you want to transfer me away? Director Ho was shocked. I've done so much for the organization. What right do you have to do this? This mission is extremely important, but you're still playing tricks. The leaders are very disappointed in you. The other party criticized Director Ho. We don't think you're capable enough to take on the job of the 9th Division. We've just had a meeting and decided to temporarily remove you from your position. Stay at home and wait for the organization's arrangements. Director Ho was dumbfounded. She had painstakingly managed things, but it turned out like this. Li Fan. It was all that Li Fan's fault. She had to take revenge on him. A woman's revenge was crazy and terrifying. Li Fan naturally didn't know that he had made another enemy for himself. At this moment, he was busy taking care of his personal hygiene. There was a very large bathroom in the bathroom. Li Fan filled the tub with hot water and took a comfortable bath. There was also a television and refrigerator in the bathroom. Li Fan continued to enjoy his night there. As for Jing, she kept drinking coffee and forcing herself to stay awake as she stared at the screen. Li Fan, when will you finish showering? Jing yawned and asked. I'm taking a bath. Li Fan said lazily, the bathing pool here is too big and comfortable. You can also watch TV and drink. This feeling of soaking in hot water and drinking iced champagne is so good. Sigh, I feel like I'm going to rot. You bastard. Jing cursed angrily. I'm still here drinking bitter coffee and staring at Liang Ru, but you're enjoying yourself. Unfair. Come out. It's rare for me to take a break. Li Fan was also a little ashamed. How about this? After I finish my mission, I'll treat you to a hot spring. How about that? Deal? It's a deal. Do you want a pinky promise? Tisk, I'm not a kid, and Jing suddenly fell silent. Li Fan put down his glass. Someone's here. There were too many people outside the hotel. They came and went, and with his perception, Li Fan couldn't tell who was the enemy and who was the guest. Therefore, in such a place, he could only rely on Jing and company's help. A waiter has come upstairs, and Jing said. But at this time, the waiter shouldn't be walking around on this floor. Besides, no guest has requested room service from the hotel. She had information about the hotel. Li Fan already understood. I'll go out and take a look. Yes, don't ignore all possibilities. After Jing finished speaking, Li Fan had already stood up from the bathing pool. His internal energy rose, and the heat evaporated the water vapor on his body. Li Fan put on the short pajama pants provided by the hotel and walked out. At that moment, a waiter in his early 20s had already unlocked the door and walked in. In front of him was a tray with unknown delicacies on it. The waiter opened the dining cart, picked up a Colt pistol with a silencer, and walked into the room. He was very professional, walking silently like a cat. He walked to the living room and saw a person lying on the sofa, covered with a blanket. Without hesitation, he raised his pistol and fired twice at the sofa. Pew! Pew! With two muffled sounds, goose feathers flew out. The waiter frowned and quickly walked forward. He lifted the blanket, revealing a damaged pillow underneath. A good goose feather pillow has been destroyed by you. A voice suddenly flew out from behind him, causing the waiter to be startled. Remember to compensate. The waiter turned his head abruptly and saw a Chinese man wearing only pajama pants sitting on a vase beside him, smiling at him. Almost subconsciously, the waiter pulled the trigger. He fired 3 shots in a row, each aimed at Li Fan's head. The waiter had been trained for many years and was very confident in his marksmanship. But at that moment, Li Fan's right hand suddenly drew a few afterimages and flashed 3 times in the air. The waiter's eyes almost blurred, and then Li Fan was sitting there unscathed. He loosened his hand, and 3 glistening yellow bullets fell to the ground. The waiter's eyes widened, but Li Fan smiled. You came in the middle of the night, and you brought this as a gift? Don't you think it's rude to give a few cents a bullet? The waiter could see that Li Fan was not easy to deal with, so he suddenly grabbed a helmet from the dining cart and put it on his head. Yo! Sure enough. Li Fan's face was full of joy. He was worried that he could not find the person, and now he had delivered himself to his door. Humph! The waiter waved his hand, and Li Fan's body suddenly flew up and hit the wall behind him. As for the waiter, he held his gun in his other hand and prepared to rush into the bedroom. But in the next second, his vision blurred. At some point in time, Li Fan was standing in front of the bedroom door. He had his arms crossed and was smiling at him. Friend, where are you going? I haven't had a good heart-to-heart with you. Li Fan pointed at the helmet on the waiter's head. Let's talk about this helmet. How about it? The waiter ignored Li Fan and pushed at Li Fan with his left hand. However, Li Fan stood there with his arms crossed, motionless as though his feet were rooted to the ground. The waiter was somewhat alarmed. He took another look at Li Fan and waved his hand again. Li Fan remained motionless, allowing the waiter to dance. In his earpiece, Jing kept asking questions. Li Fan, what happened? What happened? When the waiter came in, the surveillance in the room had been cut off, so Jing became blind. Don't worry. I'm having a heart-to-heart with this friend. Li Fan's languid voice made Jing feel a little relieved. However, this friend has a bad temper. I'll have a good chat with him. Chapter 1522. The waiter failed to push Li Fan away with his telekinesis several times and gradually became anxious. What situation is this? This is not going according to the rules. My telekinesis attack should be invincible. Why isn't it effective? Before the waiter could understand, Li Fan suddenly raised his hand and swung it at him. As an imperial sword, Li Fan naturally has a strong spiritual force. He used his spiritual force on the waiter and immediately lifted him up and threw him against the wall. His entire body was stuck to the wall, motionless like a hanging painting. The waiter struggled with all his might, but it was as if there was a hand pressing down on him, making him unable to move. The waiter, who was calm just now had a look of fear on his face, and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. Come, little friend, let's have a good chat. Li Fan stretched out his hand, and the helmet on the waiter's head suddenly flew down and fell into Li Fan's hand. Let's talk about this thing. It's so magical and worth discussing. Li Fan held the helmet and looked at the waiter with a playful gaze. Just as the waiter was about to explain, Li Fan's expression suddenly turned stern as he stared at the waiter fiercely. The waiter felt as if his heart had been struck by a heavy blow. It was as if he was being stared at by a devil. My patience is limited. I will only give you 3 chances. As Li Fan spoke, he stretched out 3 fingers. I don't know. However, the waiter was also a stubborn person. He snorted and decided to die for the organization. At this moment, countless heroes flew through his mind. What Lu Hulan, what Kong Yue, what Dong Tsuenrui, what Huang Jiguang. These heroes were like a burning flame, illuminating his heart. Li Fan didn't say anything and just put down 1 finger. Crack! Under the effect of Li Fan's spiritual force, the waiter's right leg was directly broken. Ouch! The sharp pain made the waiter scream, and his eyeballs almost popped out. There are 2 more times. Li Fan had a smile on his face. The various heroes that had just flown through the waiter's mind also instantly died a heroic death. He panicked and begged. Don't kill me, I'll talk. I told you everything. The waiter desperately begged Li Fan, completely different from the righteous look he had just now. Where did you get the helmet? Li Fan raised his helmet and asked. This was given to me by the regiment. We call this helmet Super Brain 1. There are at least dozens of people in the group who are equipped with it. The Super Brain 1 can increase our mental power and allow us to use telekinesis to attack. However, you can't use this ability too much. If you use it for too long, your head will hurt. It's something that hasn't been completed in the first place. If I force myself to use it, it will definitely hurt my brain. Li Fan felt that the Storm Mercenary Group was too cruel. Using this thing as a weapon, it hurt both themselves and others. In Bai Linluo's report, it was mentioned that the first-generation console had only forcefully unearthed the way to use mental power. Over time, it would cause serious damage to the brain. Therefore, after the first-generation console was created, it was abandoned by Bai Linluo and was only used as a reference data. How did the Storm Mercenary Group get this helmet? You know that I'm from the Storm Mercenary Group. The waiter was even more shocked, and a little afraid of Li Fan. This guy, what else did he know? The rules are that I ask you, not you asking me. Li Fan put down his 2nd finger. Crack! The waiter's arm was also broken, strangely bent 180 degrees. He was in so much pain that he screamed like a dog. I'm wrong. The waiter was about to pee. Who would have thought that his slightly active mind would suffer such a calamity? The man in front of him was a ruthless, demon-like person. It was better not to play tricks with him. You have one more chance. Answer my question. Li Fan only raised one finger. This helmet, how did you guys get it? This, I really don't know, this is a matter of the higher-ups. Seeing the change in Li Fan's expression, the waiter hurriedly continued, but, I do know a little bit of information. Speak. Li Fan's eyes widened. The waiter didn't dare to hide anything and told him honestly. There's a master in the Storm mercenary group, codenamed Magician. He's best at stealing. It's said that there's nothing in the world that he can't steal. Magician. I thought it was Shark. Li Fan rolled his eyes. What kind of nickname was that? I'm not lying, it's true. He's a core member of the Storm mercenary group, his level far exceeds mine. The waiter didn't dare to lie. Right now, he couldn't wait to give satisfactory information to the other party and escape. He was just a mercenary, risking his life to live a better life. There was no need to risk his life for the Storm mercenary group. At most, he could just change to another mercenary group. The world was so big, as long as he was alive, was there no place for him to make a living? Then tell me, how many of you have entered Hua to deal with Liang Ru? Li Fan continued to ask. The girl was sleeping soundly in the bedroom. She was so drunk that she didn't know that there was such a ruckus outside. We, the Storm mercenary group, sent out a small team. The waiter explained, this time, I'm the vanguard. If I fail, a new person will take over my job. Then who's in charge? I don't know. But if I succeed, I'll go to the restaurant on Taihu Road and place a white rose on table 13. When the other party sees it, they'll know that it's done. Be quiet, there's a place for you to investigate. Li Fan instructed be quiet, then continued interrogating the waiter. However, the waiter didn't seem to know much. Li Fan continued digging until there was no more value in the other party, then threw him to be quiet. Soon, 2 new waiters walked in. One of them showed Li Fan his ID. Li Fan handed the criminal over, then someone came to clean up the room. It's not easy being a bodyguard these days. Li Fan laughed bitterly. He couldn't even take a shower in peace. He couldn't be bothered, so he let Liang Ru continue to sleep in the bedroom. He sat on the sofa, crossed his legs, and began to meditate. The cameras in the room were all destroyed by the waiter's electronic devices, so Li Fan had the privacy he wanted. He crossed his arms, circulating his inner force in his body to improve his skills while using his second dantian to feed the white tiger, improving his compatibility with it. The higher the compatibility, the longer Li Fan could use the white tiger's power. At the moment, his compatibility with the white tiger was around 3%, so he needed to work harder. Fortunately, Liang Ru was in a deep sleep. If she had woken up at this time and walked out, she would have found Li Fan sitting in the living room with 5 white eyes above his head and a white tiger floating in front of him. He looked like a demon god. Chapter 1523. By the time Liang Ru woke up, the sky was already bright. The little girl rubbed her hair as she walked out of the bedroom in a daze, her eyes still sleepy. I want to drink water. She shouted at Li Fan, who was leaning on the sofa. Missy, ordering people around so early in the morning. Looking at Liang Ru, who had messy hair, Li Fan couldn't help but want to laugh. This woman, even if she didn't have any makeup, she was still very beautiful. I don't care, I'm thirsty. Liang Ru's voice was a little hoarse as she rubbed her temples. It seemed that she drank too much yesterday. My head hurts. Liang Ru complained lazily. Nonsense, who asked you to drink so much? Li Fan held a cup of warm water and handed it to Liang Ru. Drink it. How was it? Did you have a good time yesterday? Liang Ru suddenly asked. Li Fan was also drinking water. When he heard this, he immediately spurted it out. What did you say? We're already here, what else do you need to say? Liang Ru's expression was normal, but there was a hint of ridicule in her eyes. We're already here. Don't worry, we're all adults. We're just taking what we need. I won't extort you. Fuck your sister. Li Fan put down the cup and glared at him. Are you retarded? If I wanted to sleep with you, I would have found a grassy field and done it with you. Why would I go through so much trouble to drag you to this hotel? You're really vulgar. Liang Ru rolled her eyes. I'm just joking with you. Don't take it seriously. Liang Ru wasn't really stupid. Before she came out, she checked her body and was relieved when she found that there was nothing wrong with her. She didn't expect Li Fan to be a gentleman. Or rather, do you have a problem down there? Li Fan wanted to flip the table. Looking at Liang Ru's suspicious eyes, he had the urge to take off his pants and show his penis. Don't let your imagination run wild. I'm just not interested in you. Why? Is it because I'm not a man? Your sister. Li Fan was a little mad. I have someone I like. Oh. Liang Ru's expression was complicated. It was hard to tell what she was thinking. Who do you like? You don't know him. Li Fan said, why is this woman so gossipy? If you don't gossip, you'll get sick. Are you as good-looking as me? Liang Ru used her hand to tidy up her hair, raised her chin, and asked. Prettier than you. I don't believe it. Fuck, believe it or not, it's up to you. Li Fan was also speechless. TSK, you're too bad at lying. You don't even know how to make up excuses. As Liang Ru spoke, she patted Li Fan's shoulder. Don't worry, I won't despise you. Everyone is born equal. That's right, an equal. Pour your own water next time. Li Fan stretched his body. If you drink too much in the future, I won't care about you anymore. Go wherever you want. Liang Ru rolled her eyes at Li Fan. This man was too ungentlemanly. A man like you deserves to never find a girlfriend. Damn, serves you right for not being able to find a boyfriend. There are a lot of people chasing after me. Liang Ru looked at Li Fan and clicked her tongue in wonder. You, on the other hand, don't cherish the opportunity one gave you. I will never touch a woman I don't like. Li Fan also had his own principles. There were already rotten peach blossoms, so he couldn't be fickle. Just say you're useless. You don't need to give yourself such a dignified reason. Liang Ru was dismissive of Li Fan's words. Okay, gay is gay. I said I won't discriminate against you. You need to be brave. You will definitely find your true love. Li Fan was a bit speechless. Oh right, that Luo Nan, what do you think? Why don't you take him away? That way, he won't be like a fly in front of me every day. It's so annoying. Li Fan automatically blocked Liang Ru. I'm going to take a shower. Liang Ru smelled the alcohol on her body. She seemed to be unable to bear it. If you dare peek, you're dead. After speaking, Liang Ru turned around and walked into the bathroom. Speaking of which, why don't I help you find someone else? Li Fan switched on the communicator and gave Jing a suggestion. I can't take it anymore. Comrade Li, I know you have emotions, but the organization believes in you. You will definitely be able to complete the mission given to you by the organization. Holy shit, I've become gay for this mission. Isn't the sacrifice a little too great? How can this thing change so easily? And Jing laughed. How about this, Comrade Li? It's true that you're working hard. If you complete the mission, I'll give you a chance. How about we go on a date? If it's a one-night stand, I'll reluctantly consider it. Go to hell. And Jing hung up the communication unilaterally, making Li Fan laugh out loud. Women took a long time to take a shower. Li Fan sat in the living room and took a nap. After more than an hour, Liang Ru finally walked out. She was very bold. She only wore a towel and wrapped it around her body. Liang Ru dried her hair, the wet water droplets landing on her snow-white skin. Under the towel, 2 long legs were wrapped. They were definitely eye-catching. Li Fan couldn't help but gulp. Fuck, she really trusted him. Pooey. Shameless. Li Fan's heart was filled with sorrow as he snorted. What's wrong? Liang Ru looked up at Li Fan and found it strange. Who's shameless? You. Look at you. You're scantily clad in front of a man. That's too much. TCH, you're not a man. Liang Ru laughed. What's there to be afraid of? If you continue doing this, I'll release the divine dragon under me. Divine dragon? It's probably an earthworm. Liang Ru's words were filled with a strong desire to attack. Li Fan had the urge to take off his pants to verify his identity. A good man doesn't fight with women. Li Fan gritted his teeth in anger, but he could only endure it. We're all sisters. There's no need to be so formal. Liang Ru dried her hair and went to look for a hairdryer. Li Fan was helpless. He had a mission, so he wouldn't bother with a woman. Hurry up. You still have classes in the afternoon. Li Fan looked at the time and urged. It's okay. It doesn't matter if I go or not. Liang Ru didn't care and casually said, it's just a class. You won't understand. I'll teach you. Are you a teacher? I'm much better than a teacher. Liang Ru's conceited look made her seem like a master. If you learn from me, I guarantee that you'll become a great musician in less than a year. Forget it. Li Fan didn't believe Liang Ru's nonsense. You're good at the violin, but can the piano be heaven-defying? I'm proficient in 3 instruments. The piano is one of them. Didn't I say that I'll teach you? You'll know very soon. Alright, then I'll wait to broaden my horizons. Liang Ru was still drying her hair. The buzzing noise was quite noisy. At this moment, Li Fan saw Liang Ru's phone on the coffee table ring. The caller ID was Boss Li. Boss Li. Who was Boss Li? Chapter 1524. Liang Ru. Li Fan shouted. His voice carried internal force as it broke through the noise and entered Liang Ru's ears. Liang Ru was still drying her hair. When she heard this voice, she raised her head slightly and looked at Li Fan. What? The sound of the hairdryer was so loud that Liang Ru couldn't even hear her own voice. She immediately stopped the hairdryer. Liang Ru, Boss Li is looking for you. Li Fan pointed at the phone. Liang Ru's expression seemed to be sluggish for a moment, but she quickly recovered. Ignore her. As she said that, Liang Ru turned on the hairdryer again and continued to dry her hair. Liang Ru's black hair was like a waterfall, and it was very black. The phone was placed on the table, ringing non-stop, as if it was urging him to die. Listening to it, Li Fan was a little annoyed. Who was this Boss Li? Why didn't Liang Ru answer this person's call? Could it be that he was Liang Ru's lover? Even after Liang Ru dried her hair, the phone was still ringing. Still not picking it up. Li Fan was annoyed and asked casually. None of your business. Liang Ru seemed to be in a bad mood again. He didn't know why. But she still walked over and picked up the phone. What? Liang Ru's voice was cold and emotionless. Where are you? On the other end of the phone, it was a woman's voice. It seemed to be a little mature with a trace of indescribable sternness. None of your business. Liang Ru's words were a little angry, and Li Fan felt strange when he heard it. Was this girl throwing a tantrum? Women changed their faces like flipping a book. Liang Ru, who was very happy just now had a gloomy face. Even if a beauty was angry, she was still a beauty. Liang Ru's beauty was indeed not to be ignored. Her presence was too strong. Little Ru. I'm also worried about you. What kind of ears did Li Fan have? Although the voice on the other side of the phone was soft, it clearly entered his ears. You're still young. Mom isn't by your side and can't take care of you. I'm worried that something will happen to you. Thank you for your concern, but I'm not young anymore. Liang Ru sneered, you just have to worry more about your business and earn more money. Boss Li, I wish you great success and wealth that can rival a country. How can you talk to your mother like that? The identity of this Boss Li was already obvious. It turned out to be Liang Ru's mother who had gone abroad to do business. I'm just concerned about you. You're at a special age. You should focus on your studies now. How can you go out and get a room with a boy? You spied on me. When Liang Ru heard this, she immediately exploded. I'm not monitoring you, I'm just concerned about you. Boss Li emphasized again, you have to understand Mom's painstaking efforts. Sorry, I don't understand. Liang Ru was trembling with anger, I'm already 19 years old. I have my own way of thinking, and I have my own space to move. You have already invaded my space. You're invading my life. Don't say that you're my mother. I have to understand you. This is moral coercion. You're kidnapping me and hurting me. How can you talk to your mother like that? Mommy has always been taking care of you and protecting you. I don't want your twisted protection. Liang Ru was already roaring. It was quite terrifying when a young lady lost her temper. She threw the phone on the floor, rushed into the bedroom, and slammed the door shut. Li Fan was too deep for tears. Fuck, could it be that he wouldn't be able to leave anytime soon? Fuck, what's there to stay in this crappy place? I'm about to explode. And Jing, Liang Ru's mother, is spying on her. Do you know that? Li Fan had no choice but to connect to Jing and ask. Liang Ru's mother is extremely wealthy after all. It's not surprising that she has connections. Isn't that a little too much? Li Fan, on the other hand, felt a little unhappy. Being monitored, no one would feel comfortable in such a thing. There's nothing we can do about it. Let's just do our job. And Jing could only console him. At this moment, nothing else mattered. The mission came first. Liang Ru might have some emotional issues, but that's her private matter. It's best you don't get involved. You make it sound like I'm a street office auntie. Li Fan rolled his eyes, but in his heart, he was a little worried about this matter. Liang Ru's emotional world was too twisted. If he didn't handle it well, she might easily go to extremes. He had to protect her for 3 months. What if she took things too hard and caused trouble? What was he to do? In short, don't insert it too deeply, or it'll be too difficult to pull it out. Li Fan had a nagging feeling that the lass's words were a little vulgar, but she probably didn't notice it herself. This muddle-headed lass sometimes didn't even think before she spoke. Li Fan, be careful. It seems like someone is heading for you again. And Jing suddenly warned him. What's the situation? Li Fan hurriedly asked. There are a few strangers in black suits. They look strange. Be careful. As soon as he finished speaking, the doorbell rang. Li Fan frowned and sensed that there were about 7 or 8 people standing outside. These people's breathing was steady and their footsteps were heavy. It was obvious that they weren't ordinary people. Li Fan wasn't afraid at all. He stood up and opened the door. A few tall men in black suits stood at the door. The moment Li Fan opened the door, they immediately barged in and lined up in the living room, glaring at Li Fan. Hand over Miss Liang. The leader of the black-suited men was very tall with pockmarks on his face. He directly said to Li Fan, "This way, you can have less trouble." Who are you? Are you robbers? Li Fan wasn't afraid of these people at all. He crossed his arms and stood there. Who do you think you are? Get out of here, or I'll call the police. We are Miss Liang's bodyguards. Move aside. One of the men in black suits reached out and pushed Li Fan's chest. Li Fan immediately took 2 steps back and sat on the sofa. Get lost. The bedroom door was suddenly kicked open. Liang Ru had already changed into her hotel pajamas. This lass stood in front of the door aggressively, glaring at these men in black suits. You bastards, get out of here. Liang Ru shouted fiercely with a fierce look on her face. Get lost. Don't let me see you again. Big miss, please come with us. The pockmarked man advised earnestly, we are only following orders. Please don't make things difficult for us. What does it have to do with me? Get lost. Or else I'll call the police. Since Big Miss doesn't want to leave, then we can only take him away. With that, a few bodyguards grabbed Li Fan. Friend, our boss wants to see you. Let him go. Liang Ru was anxious. These guys were too much. They actually made a move on her friend. Although Li Fan wasn't her friend, she still had to look at the owner before beating a dog. Big miss, he will be fine. Chapter 1525. The freckled man hurriedly said, Miss, don't worry. CEO Li only wants to have a chat with him. She doesn't have any other intentions. What right does she have to talk to my friend? Liang Ru was not convinced. Instead, she became even angrier. If she really wants to see my friend, get her to come over herself. What's the meaning of taking her away now? Miss, it's best you don't make things difficult for us. The freckled man's expression turned bitter. If you don't leave, I'll call the police. Liang Ru picked up Li Fan's cell phone and looked threateningly at the men in black suits. Miss, scram. Liang Ru grabbed a cup beside her and threw it at a man in a black suit. The man in a black suit didn't even dare dodge. He allowed the cup to hit his head, causing his head to bleed. However, he didn't make a sound. Miss, sorry for the offense. The freckled man decided to forcefully take them away, but at that moment, a few policemen suddenly rushed into the room and surrounded the men in black suits. What are you doing? The freckled man frowned. Why were the police here? Someone reported you for disturbing the peace. Come with us. The policeman escorted the men in black suits away without any explanation. A policeman was left behind and asked Li Fan, did they do anything to you? You sure came quickly this time. Liang Ru harumphed. Those people wanted to kidnap my friend. All right, thank you for your cooperation. We will investigate carefully. If there's any situation, please contact us immediately. The police left after a few words. Li Fan knew that these policemen had probably been called over by Jing and company. However, these men in black suits hadn't done anything after all. They would probably be released after a day or two. Things were really getting more and more complicated. He never expected Liang Ru's mother to get involved. There's no way we can stay here. Let's go back to school. Liang Ru was a little exhausted. She suddenly felt like she had nowhere to run. As for Li Fan, even if he wanted to comfort her, he couldn't find a suitable way. They weren't from the same family. No matter what he said, it would make Liang Ru feel that it was easy for her to say something. Since that was the case, he might as well not speak. I want to go back to school. Can you help me buy some clothes? Liang Ru said as she took out a bank card and handed it to Li Fan. Don't you have clothes? Li Fan didn't refuse. It was better to go along with Liang Ru's wishes. After he took the bank card, he asked curiously. My clothes reek of alcohol. It stinks. I don't want to wear it anymore. I want a new one. Liang Ru said in disgust. Don't you know how tough life is? Li Fan complained. Look at my sportswear. I haven't changed it for hundreds of years. Then you should buy one for yourself as well. Liang Ru did not mind. She waved her hand and said, anyway, it's not my money. Spend as much as you want. The more you spend, the better. It's best if that person feels the pinch. Forget it, I'll be back soon. How could Li Fan use Liang Ru's money to buy clothes for himself? What's more, he was just joking. The sportswear he was wearing was made of nanotechnology. Its value was far higher than those famous brands. Come back quickly, don't let this lady wait. Before Li Fan left, Liang Ru quickly added such a sentence. You don't want to part with me? Li Fan asked half-jokingly. Bah! Liang Ru pouted, I just don't like to wait for people. Then you go back to sleep. I'll be back soon. Li Fan said as he turned around and left the room. He remembered that there was a shopping mall not far away. He could just buy a random outfit for Liang Ru there. In fact, Li Fan felt that a beautiful girl like Liang Ru, who was beautiful and generous, had a good figure, and long legs, was actually a natural clothes rack. Even if she didn't wear famous brands, ordinary clothes on her would give off a fashionable and elegant effect. Some people wore inferior brands, but they also looked like famous brands. And some people bought famous brands, but when they wore them, they also looked like street stalls. Li Fan walked very quickly. He went all the way to the shopping mall. In order to save trouble, he directly helped Liang Ru buy a set of sportswear. At the same time, he also helped her buy new underwear. Sigh, a man as considerate and careful as him was becoming fewer and fewer. When Li Fan left the shopping mall, he saw a few men in black suits walking over from the corner in front of him. He frowned, thinking to himself that these guys were really hard to deal with. However, these men in black suits did not seem to be the same group of people as the previous ones. The previous ones were still detained by the police. Liang Ru's mother was very rich, so they might be her other bodyguards. Li Fan pulled up the hood and put it on his head. He tried to keep a low profile and prepared to leave in another direction. In the end, he didn't even take a few steps before he bumped into a few hoodlums dressed like hooligans. Each of them carried a metal rod and walked towards him. Li Fan could see that these people were up to no good. He swept his gaze to the side and saw a familiar face sitting in a Maserati car. Luonan. Li Fan vaguely remembered that this kid seemed to be Liang Ru's pursuer. You're Li Yun. The leader of the hoodlums saw him and immediately quickened his pace. Come, let's have a chat. Dealing with these people was not a problem for Li Fan. However, if he were to make a move in front of everyone in broad daylight, his identity would definitely be exposed. Li Fan had an idea and immediately took 2 steps back. Fuck, you want to run? The leader of the hoodlums whistled and many hoodlums immediately came from all directions. Each of them held a weapon and surrounded the place. Li Fan counted for a bit. There were at least 60 to 70 hoodlums here. Luo Nan really did spend a lot of money. He actually found so many thugs. However, Li Fan already had an idea. He continued to retreat and retreated to the corner in the blink of an eye. At the same time, he took off his hood and appeared in the line of sight of the men in black suits. The target has appeared. The leader of the men in black suits had a bald head. When he saw Li Fan, his expression lit up and he immediately walked over. Mr. Li, please take a trip with us. You want to take me away? Li Fan sneered at them, my classmates don't seem to be willing. Li Fan stretched out his hand and pointed. The surrounding hoodlums had already rushed over. We have no ill intentions. The baldy frowned when he saw these hoodlums. Go and explain to my classmates. Li Fan said and turned to the leader of the hoodlums and shouted, are you going to make a move or not? If not, then I'm going with them. Fuck, you guys aren't going anywhere. The leader of the hoodlums treated the men in black suits as Li Fan's bodyguards. They had the advantage in numbers. How could they be afraid of these fellows? Chapter 1526. Under Li Fan's push, the 2 groups of people got into a fight as they wished. This group of people fought in a chaotic manner, creating a foul atmosphere and a mess. The group of people fought with each other while Li Fan stood at the side and watched the show. This group of hooligans kept hitting each other. Even if the black-suited uncle's combat power was high, he was no match for a pack of wolves. However, the black-suited uncle was an elite hired at a high price. Even if he had fewer people, he was still able to beat the hooligans until they wailed like ghosts and howled like wolves. Get out of the way, otherwise we won't be lenient. Fuck your mother, how dare you meddle in our business. Fuck you. Both sides refused to give in and fought until smoke was coming out. As for Li Fan, he crossed his arms and stood at the side, watching the show as if he was an outsider. After fighting for a full 5 to 6 minutes, both sides had many injured people. Even the baldy's face was covered in bruises. The other party's hooligan leader was also beaten black and blue. However, he seemed to be a ruthless person as he held a butterfly knife in his hand and stared at the other side fiercely. Their companions behind them were either lying on the ground or lying on the ground. Almost no one was left standing. Ayaya, Li Fan saw a police car driving over from afar and finally opened his mouth. Why are you guys fighting? We don't even know each other. It'll hurt our relationship if you start fighting. Li Fan pointed at the baldy and then at the hooligan leader. You said you guys want to bring me to see Boss Li and you guys want to beat me up. There's no conflict. Let you guys beat me up and then let them bring me away. Isn't that good enough? Both sides almost vomited blood when they heard this. Damn it, this guy was too wicked. She had been used by him. Looking at the approaching police car, the baldy and the hooligan leader were filled with regret. Li Fan waved at them generously, then turned around and walked out. With both sides like this and the police nearby, who would dare to touch Li Fan? They could only watch him walk away. In order to avoid the police, these people did not forget to scatter like birds and beasts. Fuck. Li Yun, this fellow is too cunning. The leader of the gangsters finally escaped back to the van. He rubbed his red and swollen face and cursed, the next time I see him, I'll kill him. Brother Chang, how are we going to explain this to young Master Luo? One of the lackeys couldn't help but ask. This time, a bunch of strange people appeared and blocked our way. They can't blame us. Brother Chang said fiercely. What's more, many of the people we found were injured, and I still have to pay for their medical fees. I have to let that idiot young master pay for this. Brother Chang, your left eye is bruised. Do you want to go to the hospital? It's nothing. Do you think I'm afraid of this little injury? Those men in black suits are also very powerful. They're probably bodyguards from rich families. Brother Chang muttered, what's the background of that Li Yun? Little June, investigate him. Don't mess with the wrong person. The imperial capital was a place with crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Brother Chang was able to become a big hooligan because he did not climb up casually. Yes, Brother Chang. While they were preparing, the men in black suits were also trying their best to apologize to their boss Li. So sorry, Boss Li. It was our negligence. The Baldy's explanation did not resolve Boss Li's anger. Did I spend money to hire a bunch of idiots? Do you know how much money you guys spend every month? Boss Li, we will definitely complete the mission. The Baldy's eyes flashed with a hint of ruthlessness. Please give me one more chance. You only have one last chance. Boss Li gave an ultimatum. If you fail again, then resign. Yes. The Baldy hung up the phone and wiped off his cold sweat. Although Boss Li was a woman, she was a powerful person. Offending her would not end well for you. Captain, what should we do next? Since we already know where he lives, let's keep an eye on him. Yes, we will listen to Captain's orders. These people also wanted to complete the mission as soon as possible. The earlier they finished the mission assigned by Boss Li, the better. However, this boy named Li Yun was very cunning. To deal with him, they needed to use some tricks. At this moment, Li Fan returned to his hotel with ease. However, his heart was not at ease. He encountered two troublesome matters right after he arrived. It would have a bad effect on his mission. Whether it was the so-called Boss Li or that Luo Nan. These two people were powerful and he could not reveal his true identity. It was really hard to deal with them. It looked like he needed to think of a foolproof plan to deal with them. Why are you so slow? Liang Ru looked at the late Li Fan and complained, you're a big man, why are you so slow? Li Fan did not know how to explain. He clearly encountered this kind of trivial matter, but he could not say it. It was really suffocating. Forget it. Move faster next time. Don't you know that I'm very bored? Liang Ru complained and went to change her clothes. Li Fan had to suffer in silence. He could only silently sit on the sofa and circulate his qi to regulate his breathing. He had to quickly endure these 3 months and complete the mission. Then he would quickly find a place to hide so that he would not have to suffer from this. Right now, Beyond Avalon was about to attack. He had to continue to nurture the strength of the Leaf Family Island and then deal with the Battle of Beyond Avalon. The government knew nothing about this matter. It would be very difficult for them to believe it. Whether it was from reason or emotion, the government would not be willing to admit the existence of a foreign place like Beyond Avalon. I'm done changing. Liang Ru changed into a new set of sportswear. She tied her hair into a neat ponytail and walked out, causing Li Fan's eyes to brighten. In the end, she was a beauty. She looked good in anything. This set of sportswear looked quite simple, but it revealed a kind of brand name arrogance when worn by her. I'm not going to exercise. Why did you choose sportswear for me? Liang Ru complained to Li Fan, you can't be thinking of wearing besties with me, right? Li Fan was also wearing sportswear, which was why Liang Ru teased him. Besties my ass. Hurry up and go back to school. Li Fan rolled his eyes again and again. If he were to follow Liang Ru for a period of time, his life would probably be shortened by several years. The rest of the journey was very smooth. Li Fan escorted Liang Ru all the way back to the Imperial Capital University. But Li Fan did not know that at this time, in the distance, a black Bentley was slowly following behind them. A beautiful young woman sat in the car, staring at Liang Ru's direction with a dignified expression. "Manager Li, I've found it." The driver sitting in the front row answered a phone call and then reported to the beautiful young woman. "The other party is just a student from an ordinary family. His specialty is piano. Other than that, he has nothing else." Ordinary person. The beautiful young woman's face turned cold. How can my daughter make friends with this kind of trash? Chapter 1527. Nothing happened for the next half a month. When Li Fan arrived at school, he became an obedient student. He tried his best to attend every class. From Li Fan's point of view, music had some special effects on him. As long as he could improve his musical skills, perhaps his comprehension of martial arts would also improve further. Ever since Liang Ru tormented Li Fan last time, her attitude towards him suddenly became cold again. This woman had always been capricious. Li Fan didn't mind. With the white tiger clone on Liang Ru, Li Fan wasn't worried about her safety as long as she didn't run too far away. "Master, you have classes this period." Li Fan lay on the sofa and took a nap in the afternoon. As he had informed Qiu beforehand, Qiu gently woke Li Fan up in the afternoon, dressed in a maid's uniform. Originally, Qiu liked to use more intense methods. However, Li Fan had repeatedly forbidden her. "Master, please wipe your face." Qiu passed him a hot towel. Li Fan wiped his face with it and became more awake. "I'll go to class. Take care of the house. Help me keep an eye on the room next door. Contact me if anything happens." Li Fan instructed Qiu. Qiu nodded. Just as he was about to change and leave the house with Qiu's help, he heard many footsteps outside the door. "Hide first," Li Fan instructed. Qiu immediately turned into a shadow and left the balcony. The knocking on the door became even more intense. Li Fan knew that the visitors didn't come with good intentions. However, he still walked over and opened the door. A few men in black suits stood outside the door. All of them were very fierce. They were 2 meters tall and as muscular as bulls. "You guys are really persistent." Li Fan couldn't help but give them a thumbs up. He was impressed by these people. The men in black suits did not say a word. The baldy from before walked in with a few of his companions and stood impolitely beside Li Fan. Then, a beautiful young woman in a white suit walked in. She had a noble temperament, which made the eyes of the surrounding black suits flash with admiration, desire, and a little fear. Li Fan's eyes were very presumptuous as he sized up the woman. Was this Liang Ru's mother? The woman walked up to Li Fan and maintained a distance of about 3 meters between them. Then, 2 men in black suits came forward, moved a chair, and placed it behind her. The glamorous young woman casually glanced at Li Fan, then tidied up her skirt and said, "You are Li Yun." "Yes, what's the matter, little sister?" Li Fan stretched his back and casually leaned back in his chair. His eyes were even more presumptuous as he looked at the beautiful young woman. It was somewhat naked. Although the glamorous young woman's willpower was good, she was annoyed by Li Fan's gaze. This man's eyes were like hooks, as if they could hook off the clothes on her body. "I've helped you with the transfer procedures." The glamorous young woman threw out a document, British Royal Academy of Music. "You can further your studies." "Hey, do you think I'm too handsome?" Li Fan did not look at the document. He just crossed his arms and asked, "Could it be that my charm is so high that it has reached the point where it can kill young and old people?" Glib tongue. The glamorous young woman frowned. "It seems that you really need a lesson." After saying that, a few men in black suits walked over. Each and every one of them looked at Li Fan aggressively and rubbed their palms. "What, you want to fight just because of a disagreement?" Li Fan sneered. "You really have the demeanor of a rich man. You should be taught a lesson for not speaking properly." "Is that so?" However, Li Fan pointed to his table. There was a small camera there that was facing them. "I'm sorry, I usually like to do live broadcasts. Every move you make now will be in the live broadcast process. Of course, you can also destroy the camera." Li Fan crossed his arms and did not care about the men in black suits walking towards the table. "I still have a hidden camera here. Why don't we play a game? You can search carefully." Seeing Li Fan's ease, the glamorous young woman frowned. Li Fan was fooling them. The camera on the table was used by him to communicate with Enjing. It was usually turned off. As for the so-called hidden camera, it did not exist at all. However, the glamorous young woman in front of him would definitely not dare to bet with him. She was clearly a person who cherished her reputation. Indeed, the glamorous young woman hesitated for a moment and waved her hand, getting the men in black suits to move back. At the same time, she narrowed her eyes and carefully sized up Li Fan. She looked at Li Fan with an additional sense of wariness. "You seem to have planned this." The glamorous young woman looked at Li Fan and asked, "I'm just a poor student. What can I plan?" Li Fan shrugged his shoulders, "But I was almost taken away by a group of vicious bodyguards twice. Shouldn't I be a little wary? I have nothing else to talk about between you and me." The glamorous young woman raised a finger. "I just want you to leave this school. Since you like music, you should accept my arrangements. The Royal Academy of Music is the highest temple for music students in the world. Indeed, what you said is very tempting." Li Fan did not object. He even nodded and echoed, "As long as one loves music and has a bit of intelligence, they will accept your conditions and leave the Imperial Capital University to further their studies in England. So, you agree?" The corner of the glamorous young woman's mouth curled up into a smug smile. No matter who it was, they could offer a price that he could not refuse. "Who said I agree?" Li Fan stretched out 3 fingers. "First, as the saying goes, no work, no reward. Why should I accept your sponsorship for no reason? Second, I like China. Although this is not a music temple, it is my birthplace. Third, I kind of hate you, so I don't accept your sponsorship." After saying these 3 sentences, the glamorous young woman's brows wrinkled deeply. "Kid, you're not bad." The glamorous young woman actually looked up to Li Fan. "In the face of this kind of treatment, you're actually unmoved. If you're not very rich, then you came here with an objective. I won't give up until I reach my goal." Li Fan was a little shocked. Good heavens, it was just a few words, and this beautiful young woman had analyzed it to this extent. She's indeed a rich woman. She's really powerful. It seems like I have to fight with this woman. You're looking down on me too much. Li Fan crossed his arms and asked, "I want to know, in your opinion, what is my purpose in coming here? There are only 2 things that people want, power and money." The glamorous young woman continued her analysis. "Since you're not here for money, then you're here for power. Or, you're here for more money. This money can be used to plot a country." Chapter 15:28. The young woman's analysis was very bold, causing Li Fan's heart to jump wildly, but his expression remained the same. "What you said is quite reasonable, but I'm just a poor student. how can I go and plot for the country? Li Fan is indeed plotting for the country, for the welfare of his Li family island. From the information, you are indeed just an ordinary student. Your family background is very ordinary, but this is also where you expose yourself. I expose myself. Expose what? Li Fan was very puzzled. I'm just an ordinary student, why would I expose myself? Everything is too coincidental. If you're just an ordinary student, you can't appear here at this time. The young woman continued, of course, all of this may be just an assumption, because you're a bandit from head to toe. I don't like you, so I'm giving you a chance now. You can take this admission letter and leave China. The beautiful young woman wrote another check. In addition, here's a check for 2 million. For ordinary people, they can't earn this much money in their lifetime. As long as you go to the UK, this money is yours. Auntie, today you brought a group of people and came here to say a bunch of repetitive words. Li Fan was unmoved. Don't bully a poor youth. Don't think that you can humiliate others just because you have money, at least not here. Do you really think I can't do anything to you? The more helpless she was, the more the beautiful young woman wanted to get rid of Li Fan as soon as possible. Leaving such a person by her daughter's side was tantamount to a ticking time bomb. You try. Li Fan was like a hedgehog, even taking the initiative to provoke the young woman. Anyway, I'm a law-abiding citizen, the government will certainly protect me. Name your condition. The young woman did not give up, trying to overcome the difficulty of Li Fan. As long as you can name it, I can achieve it. Okay, that's what you said. That's right, I said it. The young woman's heart moved. It seems like the other party still has a price. No matter how much money, I can handle it. Money was important, but it was not as important as his daughter's happiness. My condition is that you and your men get out of my room. Li Fan put away the smile on his face. If I don't go out, my friend at the other side of the camera will call the police for me. Li Yun, don't be smug for too long. The gorgeous young woman stared at Li Fan. I will always pay attention to you. That would be my honor. Li Fan laughed. To be stared at by a beauty like you, it's really a blessing. Humph, let's go. The gorgeous young woman tidied up her skirt and got up to leave. The men in black suits followed behind her and left the room. Li Fan also admired this beautiful young woman. She chatted with him for so long, but she didn't mention Liang Ru's name. It seemed that she was just chatting with Li Fan and even helping him study abroad. If it wasn't for his sudden inspiration to use the camera, the battle today would have been unavoidable. Having his hands and feet bound was indeed quite troublesome. Master. Chiao half knelt behind Li Fan and asked Li Fan, do you want Chiao to make a move and get rid of them? Forget it. Li Fan still waved his hand. After all, she is Liang Ru's mother. Now that I don't have time to go to class, I will definitely be marked as a truant. Master, Chiao doesn't want to see you being bound. Chiao suggested to Li Fan, why don't Chiao use the power of the Seven Knights Villa to get rid of those potential enemies? No need. Li Fan immediately rejected this idea. The villa's power is our last resort. If we can't use it, then don't use it. We must not let China continue to be vigilant against us. I can still handle Liang Ru's matter. This gorgeous young woman wants to have a battle of wits and courage with me. That's good, I will play with her. Other than her, there are also some mercenary groups. Chiao reported, I just received information from Chief Manager Ling. The Storm Mercenary Group has sent a small team into China. It's very likely that they have already entered the Imperial Capital University. These guys from the Storm, are they done yet? After listening, Li Fan couldn't help but twitch his mouth. Didn't we catch a few people according to the waiter's clues? Why are they still sending people? These people are all after the money. I heard that the reward for this mission has already reached 100 million US dollars. What the fuck? Li Fan was shocked when he heard this. 100 million US dollars? This is too exaggerated. Li Fan almost had the thought of tying Liang Ru up to submit the mission. In the face of such a huge amount of money, who can control themselves? No wonder mercenary groups like the Storm also have to bend over for this mission. This is really a little troublesome. Li Fan felt that it was a little tricky. How about this, you call Chun, and the others back. The school will be protected by the four of you in the dark. After all, it was infiltrated by various organizations. No matter how powerful Li Fan's martial arts was, he couldn't be omnipotent. The current method was to let Chun, and the others fight together. The four girls' martial arts were not bad and could more or less protect the school. Yes. Chiao, was a little happy. Sister Chun, and the others will definitely be very happy. They have long wanted to come here, Master. It is my honor to be remembered by you. Master, you are so naughty. Your words make my heart warm. Chiao, licked her lips. Master, do you want to stab in and feel Chiao's heat? Hurry up and contact Chun, and the others. Li Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This girl was going crazy again. Understood, Master. Chiao, will go now. With that, Chiao's figure flashed and disappeared. Li Fan sat back on the sofa. Since he would not be able to attend class in time, he might as well continue to meditate. He had made some progress in his cultivation these few days, and his sense of white tiger was getting stronger. At the same time, the nine-tailed divine fox pearl that he had hidden started to move again. Just as Li Fan was cultivating, Miss White Tiger's voice rang in Li Fan's ear. The nine-tailed divine fox is awake. With this reminder, Miss White Tiger stopped moving again. Li Fan suddenly opened his eyes. He did not sense the nine-tailed divine fox's aura, but was the nine-tailed divine fox really awake? Miss White Tiger would not lie to him. Could it be that this cunning fox spirit had hidden herself? Immerse, since you are awake, why don't you come out and communicate with your feelings? Li Fan sat cross-legged and said slowly. After a while, a faint sigh suddenly sounded in the air. Sigh, sweetheart, so this is how you think of me. Brat, exactly what method did you use to discover me? A familiar slender figure appeared in the room. She sat on the cabinet and looked at Li Fan. Little fox, you are so sneaky. Are you trying to plot against me? Chapter 1529. Li Fan's question made the nine-tailed divine fox smile sweetly. My dear, your words are so hurtful. If this seat wants to kill you, why do I need to hide? That's true. What kind of person is our nine-tailed divine fox? How could we do such a shameful thing? Li Fan chuckled and continued, but whether you have ulterior motives or other plans, that is hard to say. I just want to give you a surprise. This seat only wants to escape from your restraints. To obtain freedom. The nine-tailed divine fox told Li Fan. I will not let you go. Li Fan gestured, you are already my prisoner, just obediently serve me. I am willing to help you. This seat is not anyone's prisoner. However, since we're both enemies of the Grandmasters, I can lend you a hand. The two personalities of the nine-tailed divine fox reached the same goal as Li Fan. Alright, then I need more information. Li Fan immediately asked, how powerful are the realm beyond heaven? How are they compared to you? The immortals of the realm beyond heaven are divided into 3 levels. The nine-tailed divine fox extended 3 fingers. First, the most ordinary lower immortals have no authority. They are equivalent to the current grassroots civil servants in the human realm. They do all the work, and the credit goes to the higher-ups. As for the upper immortals, although they are quite strong, they like to hide behind and cherish their feathers. But compared to those true heaven immortals, they pale in comparison. Let me tell you, the strength of a lower immortal is similar to me. If I am not injured, I can match up to an upper immortal. If it was a celestial immortal, even I would have to flee for my life. As long as this seat cultivates for a few more years, I can kill all the dogs of the realm beyond heaven. When the nine-tailed divine fox spoke, his emotions fluctuated greatly. My dear, that true immortal art is indeed a conspiracy of the realm beyond heaven. You cannot cultivate it. But you can learn the martial arts of others. But I am afraid you do not have the talent. Cultivating it would allow you to fight against grand cosmos gods. If you fail, you won't even have a corpse left, and your soul will scatter. Holy shit. What kind of technique is this? How could it be so vicious? Li Fan was stunned when he heard that. This is our Fox clan's magical art. Normal people can't practice it at all. It's very easy for them to die suddenly. However, there was a powerful expert in the past who successfully cultivated this divine technique. From now on, I will be invincible. The two personalities explained to Li Fan at the same time, and Li Fan was scared out of his wits. He thought to himself, how dare they introduce this kind of martial arts to me? Little fox, are you trying to trick me? Li Fan was a little annoyed. How could that be? I love you the most. I don't need to lie to you. In the past, the great cosmos god had cultivated this set of Fox clan divine technique. From then on, I will be unstoppable and awe-inspiring. As Li Fan listened, he was fascinated. He couldn't help but think back to the time when he had mistakenly entered Skysplit Tower and met that person. Could the great cosmos god mentioned by the nine-tailed god fox be him? If there's a chance, I really want to meet him. It's a pity that there won't be a chance. The nine-tailed god fox sighed. In the past, he defeated the Skysplit Tower and became a great cosmos god. From then on, he guarded the tower alone and couldn't leave. If not for him coming out, Lin Tong wouldn't have spent so much effort to groom me. It's a pity that I'm not proficient in it. If I could cultivate it to the upper realm, how could this mere sky beyond heaven be under my control? Alright, don't talk after the fact. Since you know that your combat power isn't sufficient, you should properly cultivate it again. Since you learned a high-grade mental cultivation technique, it shouldn't take too long for you to recover. If I want to recover my divine technique, I don't just need time. I need heavenly materials and fortuitous encounters in the mortal world. Damn, then I can't help you. I'm already satisfied that you have such a thought. Since when did this seat need your help? You puny criminal. The nine-tailed god fox seemed to be mockingly Fan. You want to defeat them with just a puny martial practitioner. Don't make others laugh their heads off. Li Fan had the urge to kill. This nine-tailed god fox was actually threatening him. Nine-tailed god fox, even though your divine technique is unparalleled, you were still defeated by an unremarkable junior from the pugilistic world. You've really lost a lot of face. I don't regret it anymore. If this seat had recovered to his peak, how could I lose to you? The nine-tailed god fox sneered. How about this, let's make a deal. Li Fan could see that the nine-tailed god fox had always wanted to reconstruct his golden body and return to the mortal world. As long as you're willing to help me, I'll help you reconstruct your golden body. How about it? Do you mean what you say? The two personalities were shocked. Of course, our common enemy is the sky beyond heaven. There's no need for us to oppose each other. Li Fan spoke from the bottom of his heart, thus, we have to work together. That way, we can defeat the increasingly powerful sky beyond heaven. My dear, I'm willing to help you. Humans are all despicable and shameless. How can I trust you? It doesn't matter whether you trust me or not. Li Fan crossed his arms with a smug expression. Because you can only choose to stand on my side. Otherwise, do you want to be the lackeys of the sky beyond heaven? Tui. Those bastards from the sky beyond heaven. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't have been sealed on this island for thousands of years. This seat must capture all of them and peel off their skin one by one. Li Fan was stunned to hear this. Something like this had happened in Huaxia before. Indeed, there were all sorts of strange things in this world. As long as you agree to avenge me, I'll agree to your conditions. The nine-tailed god fox immediately stated her conditions without any hesitation. It was as if she had lost the demeanor of a fox demon. However, the nine-tailed god fox was very shrewd. When she saw Li Fan's eyes, she knew that he wasn't lying. Li Fan was really willing to work with her. Li Fan had defeated her before. He indeed had the conditions to work with her. With your talent, even the sky beyond heaven would want to take you in as a slave. Who knows? 2 days ago, they sent 2 people to secretly follow me. I don't know what they want. I really didn't expect them to move so quickly. Human, I'm willing to make a fox race contract with you. The nine-tailed god fox took a step back and said, this fox race contract can allow me to temporarily live in your body and absorb nutrients and energy from your body. Of course, this is insignificant to you. You don't need to mind it. Of course, you should know the principle of equivalent exchange better than me. Once this pearl's ability is activated, your power will be weakened by several levels. Therefore, this fox race contract is very dangerous. Do you dare to come? You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.